I think the stadium can expand if it needs to get bigger. This is about 8,500 capacity as it stands. No, I don't. Not at all. Not at all. Yeah. 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 It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. 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 Yeah, ladies' semi-finals are both here, and I think there's a couple of group games. Women's, I don't think they've got any at men's. But it's a host city for, I can't think who, it might even be, I want to say New Zealand. Yeah, they've been here before. I remember when I was at sixth form, whichever World Cup it was, early 90s. Hello and welcome to the LNER Community Stadium in York for this, the third round of the Betfred Women's Super League. And again, it's two big teams coming together. It's York City Knights against Leeds Rhinos. Just a few weeks after these sides met in the Challenge Cup semi-final, and on that occasion, Leeds Rhinos won by just 2 points. I'm Sharon Shortle, with me is Kyle Amor. And what are you expecting this afternoon, Kyle?
Yeah, Sharon, exactly like what you just mentioned. A couple of weeks ago, these two sides met, and you know, it was so close, that game, so I'm expecting exactly the same. Both sides have started the Super League brightly. You know, Leeds getting off to a flying start against Huddersfield, and York City Knights a fortnight ago here turned over St Helens for the first time since 2019. So, you know, they're a team flying high with confidence at the moment, and today will certainly be a big test for them.
And with the World Cup coming up at the end of the year, these are the sorts of clashes that players will need. Yeah,
well, this is the sort of clash and games that the women's competition needs. You know, we need more and more of these games where, you know, they are close calls, and so often and not, you know, as the game's been building, you know, results are getting closer, games are getting more competitive, and certainly for things like the World Cup at the end of the year, that's exactly what these girls need. They need put through the paces, they need tested to their absolute mettle, and they'll get that today. It'll be a cracking game, one I'm looking forward to.
So let's hear then from the coaches of the sides this afternoon. Let's start off with York City Knights. So Lindsay Anfield, Director of Rugby at York City Knights. 2 weeks since you last played, it was that great win for you against St Helens. How have things been since? Yeah, it was a massive win for us here a couple of weeks ago. The week after that, the girls were clearly exhausted, and you know, they had a lot of energy zapped in that game. So we had a pretty low-key week, and then this week leading into the game, they've really upped it, and they've been fantastic in training. So we're hoping for something similar today. The last time you played Leeds, it was the defeat in the Challenge Cup semi-final. So do you feel you've got something to prove in this one? Yeah, you know, to lose by 2 points in a semi-final, you've definitely got something to prove. It really hurts when you lose in that manner. But the performance wasn't there that day from us. So we know that if we correct that today and you know, fix up a few of the areas that were lacking that day, then hopefully we'll come out on a better side of the result. And it will be a different team for you today. A new signing this week at York. Yeah, Lacey's a back rower. She's had a bit of time out of the game. She's a great athlete, kept herself fit, but she's coming all guns blazing. We've literally only got one half-back left in the squad, and that's Liv Gale. So Lacey's put her hand up to play half-back today, so we'll see how she goes. So Lois Forsell, Leeds Rhinos head coach, you started your Super League campaign with a win. What are you expecting from today?
Yeah, we won against Huddersfield last Friday night, or the Friday before, I was going to say. So we're just expecting a rise from that. I think that we were good, but we were a bit slow to start. So we're really happy how we started in the Challenge Cup final, and we want to see more of that, really. We know that two great teams playing today, so we can't afford to look back and say we wish we did a bit more in the first 10-15. So yeah, we need to start off strong, really.
The fact that you beat York in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup, does that give you an advantage at all this afternoon?
Not that we've sort of thought about. I think that every game we just think about us and what we need to do well, and build and make our standards better week on week. We've always spoke about it's progress, not perfection. We know that it's early doors in the season, so it's just about us really and what we can do better with each game that we get an opportunity to do so.
And tell us about your team for this afternoon. Obviously one big omission because of COVID.
Yeah, we're missing Courtney Winfield-Hill. She tested positive yesterday for COVID, and we're missing Emma Lumley, so she's withdrew this morning. So you know, we're obviously really gutted to miss them, and we'll miss them girls, but the thing about our squad is we've got strength in depth, and we've got a squad that are probably, you know, one of the most resilient squads that I know I've not worked with many, but I've been in a lot of teams as a player, and I think that a resilient squad is what we've got. We came here with 16 players last year and did a job, so the girls know that sometimes you've got to dig deep and work hard, but that's something that they're not shy of. So for us, just, you know, got to get on with it, business as usual.
The Women's Rugby League show was on The Sportsman again this week. Krista McAllister has been speaking to Leeds Rhinos star Kira Bennett.
So Kira, what are your targets for the rest of this season?
I just want to go out there with my teammates, have fun, and I want to win. I do want to win this year. We're looking towards the league leaders now in the grand final, after obviously missing out on the Challenge Cup. But I'm excited to go out there each week and push on and learn more about ourselves and put in some grit and determination.
So there's a big hype around this season, especially with regards to women. How do you think the season's going to pan out with regards to support and getting the fans behind?
It's definitely a big year for Women's Super League, especially with the World Cup at the end of the year. There's a lot more media coverage even today here. We wouldn't have had this a couple of years back, and the stadiums we're playing on now, it's exceptional and only like what you dream of. So come the end of the year, it's going to be really good. So hopefully the fans do get behind us and bring in big crowds and followers on social media, which is going to be good.
York City Knights against Leeds Rhinos. Kyle, you're on our commentary team for this one. It should be a cracker, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should. You know, Leeds obviously got a great win last week against Huddersfield, and York, who can forget that, you know, they ended up doing Saints for the first time in 2019, that those girls have been beaten at Saints. So, you know, both teams started terrifically, and a lot of people would have, you know, these two teams in that top three come the end of the year. So it's a real benchmark for both to put their stall out ready for the rest of the season to come.
Scully, you've been coming on this show for quite a long time. We've been working with you for a while, and over that time we've kind of kept speaking about just seeing the women's game grow and grow and grow. And that York win against St Helens a couple of weeks ago, probably the biggest signifier of that. And we've got another genuine, really good game in around here.
Yeah, and you want to see that. You know, we spoke about the men's Challenge Cup final. You want to see close games, and that's something we want to see within the women's game. More competition. You know, Saints have been quite dominant, along with Leeds making, you know, the major finals for a number of years. But to see now York, you know, City Knights women's team not only compete but to topple Saints, and that's a massive shot in the arm for them, and obviously their confidence going forward.
Get ready for the most skillful players, the world's greatest teams, making a proper impact on and off the pitch. Only 200 days to go. The Rugby League World Cup. This is real impact.
So here we are then at the LNER Community Stadium in York. York City Knights against Leeds Rhinos. A nice little crowd starting to build as well. This game again being played as a double, in fact a triple header here this afternoon in York. The men kick off at 3 o'clock against London Broncos, and in between the matches there is the LDRL between York City Knights and Leeds Rhinos as well. So I'm expecting quite a crowd to start gathering as this women's game goes on this afternoon. So let's have a look at how things are looking for the teams this afternoon. We'll have a chat with Kyle Amor in just a second as well about what we can maybe expect from this afternoon's match. Let's start off then with York City Knights. Lacey Owen making a debut after signing this week. She's in the halves with Liv Gale. Kelsey Gentles is back from injury on the wing, and Rhiannon Marshall is back on the bench after missing their win against St Helens. A strong side there, Kyle. It'll be interesting to see how the halfbacks go, particularly with Lacey Owen coming in new.
Yeah, without doubt, you know, obviously brought in, had a successful period over at Castle of Tigers, didn't she? So, you know, she'll just be another quality addition to what is turning out to be a quality side. You know, they've been bubbling away, York, haven't they, over the last couple of years? And obviously now, you know, they seem to have got the bit between the teeth, and, you know, we can't overlook that huge win here a fortnight ago against St Helens. And what that'll do for the team, Sharon, in terms of confidence and going forward, it'll just provide them with a foundation of just knowing that they've got that in them. It can take them a long, long way. And this game here today, you know, it should be fantastic. You know, these two sides, obviously, you mentioned pre-game about when they met over in the Cup. You know, just 2 points separated them that day. So hopefully we get another showcase like that for this crowd and for all our viewers who are tuning in at home.
So for Leeds there, you can see Jasmine Earnshaw-Cudshaw. She's in for Courtney Winfield-Hill, who has COVID. Zoe Hornby, she's been in great form. She's still at loose forward for Leeds this afternoon. And Ella Johnson is on the bench. She's a late replacement for Aimee Staveley, who was initially named in this side this afternoon. So a late change on the bench this afternoon for Leeds Rhinos. But again, another strong side looking there, Kyle, for Leeds. Courtney Winfield-Hill, always going to be a loss, but Jazz Cudshaw coming in as a replacement. She's a useful player as well.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think back to the, you know, that showing that they did in the Challenge Cup final, the game that we both covered, didn't we, a while back there, and what Leeds did was nothing short of remarkable. I thought they played the game so well that they just perhaps had a little period in that second half that allowed Saints back into it and ultimately snatched the cup away from them. But, you know, I mentioned there about York being improving. Leeds Rhinos are certainly improving. You know, they dominated a period, didn't they, in the women's game a few years back, and they've had to go away and have a little reset and come back at it. And, you know, they are too making good strides in this competition.
So York City Knights out on the pitch wearing the familiar York colours of amber, black and white, still waiting for Leeds Rhinos to come out and join them. When these two sides met, Kyle, in the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup, Leeds Rhinos coach Lois Forsell and the Lindsay Anfield, the director of rugby at York, both said they expected it to be a forward battle. And looking at the benches as well today, I think they expect pretty similar, a game played out in the forwards, and certainly against St Helens, that was where York looked quite strong.
Yeah, look, and you've only got to look at the girl on the bench there, Rhiannon Marshall. You know, she's had a very, very large influence on this side for a number of years now, and, you know, her off the bench, her experience, her kicking game and a goal forward will certainly provide York with with plenty of impact during the game. And you know, for Leeds, yeah, look, I'm just looking forward to what should be a good game. You know, Leeds obviously got the win that day a couple of weeks ago in that tight contest. So, you know, the muscle memory of them winning, they've left a mark on York, but it's up to the City Knights. Can they perhaps turn it over on home soil? I believe they will today. I believe that win that they had against Helens will be so good for them, that I expect them to start fast and sort of try and look to blow Leeds Rhinos away early doors.
We heard Lindsay Anfield say before the game started that the players had been a little bit flat in training after that win against St Helens. So do you think there's any danger of a hangover?
Well, potentially, yeah. I mean, look, one thing that can sometimes happen, if you have a big win against a club that's been so dominant, you can almost fall in love with yourselves and think that's just going to happen again. You know, they have to find it in their own heads that these girls, so whatever they did to get up for that game, well, they've got to do it again today, because you can't disrespect Leeds Rhinos. You know, they are very much a quality outfit. You know, as we've seen in the Challenge Cup final, they push Saints all the way, and if you do that, then, you know, well, it's at your own peril, really.
So Leeds Rhinos on the field now, led this afternoon by Hannah Butcher. Of course, Courtney Winfield-Hill, the captain, ruled out this afternoon after testing positive for COVID. But two strong sides coming up against each other, and we have seen some cracking matches so far this season, including the Challenge Cup in Women's Rugby League. And with these two coming up against each other this afternoon, I think we can probably expect something similar today as well. So the two sides getting ready to get started. Of course, they will observe the 13 seconds as part of the Rugby League's Tackle It campaign to show that there's no space for discrimination in the sport or in society. The referee, Matthew Clayton, just glancing round, checking his watch and making his preparations to signal that. And that met by applause from the healthy-looking crowd on the far side of the field. So Leeds Rhinos will get things started in that traditional amber and blue. And the referee blows a whistle, Matthew Clayton, and it's Leeds Rhinos that get this third round tie underway in the Betfred Women's Challenge Cup. Full coverage here this afternoon on the Sportsman, and it's Tara Stanley, first touch of the ball for her for York City Knights. You've mentioned, Cal, both sides probably looking for a very strong start this afternoon, because I think the early stages of this game will really matter.
Well, yeah, look how York started again a fortnight ago against Saints. A real physical encounter. You know, Grace Field was huge that day and really led the pack on that day, didn't she? You know, put some big hits in and went after them physically. And sometimes when you travel away from home, you know, getting the start right is so important just for what's to come over the next 80 minutes.
Savannah Andrade taking the ball in, again employed this afternoon in the second row. We've mainly seen her in the centres, but these last few weeks she's been in the second row for York City Knights as Holly Dodd gets to her feet and plays the ball on the last of the set. Stanley with the kick downfield. Goldthorpe is there for Leeds, takes it easily, no pressure on her from that kick, and takes the play in for the first run of the game for Leeds Rhinos.
Yeah, lovely little play there between the forwards, just allows them to get on the outside of Leeds Rhinos' pack and then get away to a good kick. So a good start for York, good opening set. They're giving away a penalty here, deemed offside. That's what you don't want to be doing, not against this Leeds outfit.
No, that'll gift Leeds yards down the field. Bennett just looking for Georgia Roach, who doesn't gain too much distance forward with that kick, but playing it very safe. And I was going to say as well, there's a little bit of a breeze just going around here at the stadium. And Bennett takes the tap, passes it to the centre of the field, and driving it in there is Danny Anderson. Good performance from her in the Challenge Cup final as well. Returning to the side this year after a lengthy knee injury that meant she missed over a season. So she's really returned with some form as Danny Anderson for Leeds Rhinos. As Bennett finds Kerrigan. Oh, a good hit coming in there from York City Knights. A big hit from Holly Dodd.
Yeah, left a mark on it.
Kudjo tries to find the gap herself. And the ball comes loose as well. I think she tried to get that pass away. I'm not sure if it was really on or not, but either way, the error comes.
Yeah, look at that hit there. Contact perfect from Holly Dodd. And that's how you want to start a game.
Move back a bit, please.
Holly Dodd, another player that signed in the close season for York City Knights and been in some great form since she signed as well. Just see Kudjo there, maybe just trying to force that ball out.
Trying to promote the ball there to Beavers. Right idea, but wrong execution.
The York City Knights defence doing its job there, making sure that the pass really didn't have any room to come out at all.
Yeah, and that's how you've got to defend Leeds as well. You know, look, they're not shy of scoring tries, are they? They scored 40 points, I think it was, against Huddersfield. So they will move the ball and they will take opportunities. But when you've got numbers in and around that, you know, you force errors like what we've just seen there from Kudjo. And that's another good hit, that. Yeah, whatever you do, we'll do better.
Big hit coming in from that Leeds defence. Peach, that's in half for York. Here's Kelsey Gentles back in the side after injury. Runs strong, runs hard. Great defence, though, from Leeds Rhinos.
Big fan of Kelsey Gentles. What she does out of backfield is brilliant. Goes with pace. And that's a lovely little tip again. I like what they do in York.
Jazz Bell, player of the match in that win against St Helens a couple of weeks ago. Some strong running from the loose forward that day. And she'll be looking to build on that again. She was giddy with the player of the match. She'd never won it before, she said. So York making steady progress. This is the last of the set. The referee raises his arm. Field gets to her feet, plays it to Peach, and it goes to Tara Stanley. Steps off 1 foot, there goes the kick. Bit of a tester for Leeds. It's allowed to bounce. I think it came off a York hand there. It's back in the York arms as well. Be interesting to see what the referee gives here.
Yeah, I think it is a turnover, yeah. They weren't confident under that. Fran Goldthorpe allows it to bounce and it lands back in the hands of the York City Knights. But the good thing for Leeds is they're there to react and get numbers in, kill the play. We just see there a bit of a mix-up there between Goldthorpe and the winger.
Lacey Owen getting involved as well with that kick chase from York City Knights. The former Castleford player had time out of the game, and York City Knights announced her signing this week. So here we go with Bennett for Leeds. Out towards the centres. Defence comes in, good tackle from the Knights again. I think Sam Hume certainly knowing she was caught with that tackle.
Yeah.
There goes Hornby. Hornby's been in some good form as well for Leeds Rhinos. She was outstanding in that Challenge Cup final defeat by St Helens as Anderson takes it forward now for Leeds.
Leaves Savannah on dry there on her backside.
And this is the last for the Rhinos. We said about the forward battle so far, and it's certainly the forwards getting through the bulk of the work as Roach kicks through for Leeds Rhinos. Underneath it is Liv Whitehead. She takes that nicely. And here she goes. She's got a bit of a knack as Whitehead, a bit of a step on her as well.
Oh, they stole
they've lost the ball.
Yeah,
Leeds back in possession.
I think it was Georgia Roach who did that, former woman of steel herself. I think back in 2018 it was.
So good position now for Leeds. This is Anderson. Anderson taking play inside that York 10 for the first time in this game. Still early on. Just to say as well, the clock on the screen just for guidance rather than being the referee's timekeeping. Great hit coming in there from York City Knights. Quick off the mark in defence, wrapping that ball up. Bennett fancies it herself. Good work from York coming in. Closing that gap, making sure she can't get through, but Leeds still putting that pressure on. Here's Earnshaw Cudjoe to Anderson. Anderson tries to find a way, looks for support and finds it with Bennett. Bennett keeps it moving. Leeds having to really try to work to unlock that York City Knights defence, and the ball comes loose and it's a penalty to Leeds. York City Knights putting themselves under pressure, but this sets up the Rhinos beautifully.
Yeah, I think it was Liv Gale. Had a little pull on the ball. Yeah, she just comes in here, tries to dislodge the ball, tries to wrap the ball up, but it's deemed to be pulled out. It's a penalty. I was just going to say that York City Knights had defended that set so well. You know, managed to turn Leeds away, but they're going to have to do 6 more. Can they hold out?
And it's Anderson with the first of the sets for Leeds. Takes play to within round about 5 metres of that line. Trying to find air now with Roach. Back inside. Oh, here's a gap for Leeds Rhinos, and it's Leeds that get the first points. Leeds Rhinos going through. It's a player that's in form that scored it. Zoe Hornby getting the first try of the game.
Yeah, it was just too much in the end. You know, 8 tackles in. They're giving away a penalty. Another set of 6. Well, on play 2 of that, it's that girl there, Zoe Hornby. You mentioned the form she's in. Fantastic player for Leeds Rhinos and gets the first try of the afternoon. It was a lovely little drop-off ball by Georgia Roach. Just that line that she runs, takes and drags players out and opens the space up for underneath there, and just gets between Sinead Peach. Tara Stanley trying her best to deny a try for her, but it's too late. Got to defend the front line of defence a bit better than that, especially on people like Zoe Hornby.
So it's Sam Hume with the kicking duties this afternoon for the Rhinos in place of Courtney Winfield-Hill, the regular kicker. So let's see if she can add the 2 points. That try was coming, wasn't it? So much pressure on the York City Knights line from the Rhinos.
Yeah, well, they have to be better than that, don't they, York? You know, they give away a penalty. In fact, they give away 2 penalties in the lead up to that.
And no goal added there. We certainly see where Sam Hume was aiming, I think, with that kick, but sadly couldn't find the right side of the paintwork and the post. And so Leeds Rhinos just have that 4-0 lead. And they'll be happy with the start, I think, there, Kyle.
Yeah, they sure will. Look, they just tried a power play in that first set, trying to knock the front door down. Well, they give it off the back of the penalty that was given away. It was just a subtle bit of movement there from Georgia Roach. Just drags them outside. And just a lovely little drop-off play there. And it's enough for Zoe Hornby to crash straight through and score. So it's 4-0, 8 minutes gone.
So the Tara Stanley to restart things for York City Knights. Long kick downfield for the Knights. And the Rhinos just taking the time before Goldthorpe gathers and attacks that York City Knights line.
You can't let her skim across like that. You've got to go and meet her with the ball. She's so good on her feet, is Fran Goldthorpe. A real live wire. One of the players of the competition.
You could almost see as she was coming across the line how gaps were just starting to a little bit of a chink.
She's looking for that, Sharon. Yeah. You know, she's looking for that little chink in the armour of York's defence. I think she's picked up a bit of a knock on her back as she gets away from that ball carry a bit gingerly. But yeah, she's looking for that. And if it presents itself, she's one of the best at exposing it and taking it. There's a good bit of contact on it.
So Leeds driving through quite nicely. Beth Lockwood in possession. To Bennett. Out to Earnshaw Cudjoe. Takes on that line nicely.
Yes.
Out the gap as well for Leeds. Great breakthrough there from Jazz Earnshaw Cudjoe. This is the last for the Rhinos again. Let's see what they can do. Will it go to Roach for the kick? It will. There we go, over the top of the defence, straight at Kelsey Gentles, who takes it beautifully on her own try line, comes away as well, and relieves a little bit of pressure there for York. Half a break from Kelsey Gentles.
It's a great tackle there by Holly Dodd, and had to be. What a terrific return of the ball, and what it allows Sinead Peach then to get on the front foot, take 20 metres up the field. And in a blink of an eye, from defending their old try line, they're now on the halfway line. Brilliant stuff from York.
Yeah, pace certainly just clicked up a gear, I think, from that take from Kelsey Gentles to get York motoring up the field. And inside the Leeds half of the field, Dodd is brought down. Here's Peach. York almost taking a breath in this set. Here's Field now driving through. Great work there from the Leeds defence.
No, brilliant. She's trying to offload the ball and promote it, but Danny Anderson's having none of it.
Two good forwards there, and probably two forwards vying for the England spot at the end of the year as well in the World Cup side. And
that's where we're getting to, Sharon, isn't it? We're now getting to see different girls from different teams competing for them international places where, you know, going back only a couple of years, you could almost pick the 17 before the season even started. Well, now with the development of Leeds Rhinos, of York, and of the other teams who are getting better, but certainly York, Leeds and Saints are setting the standard in that sense, with the other teams improving. It's another penalty. It's two penalties in a row here. The usual sequence is penalty, penalty, try from many of the games that I've been covering over the last couple of years. Can they hold out?
Well, the referee not happy as Jazz Bell goes running through, just getting York to take things back. But this is a good position now for the Knights. Liv Wood moving from second row into prop forward for the Knights in recent weeks. She's brought down after hitting that defensive line. There's Owen, pass to Stanley, who juggles with it. What a hit coming in on Tara Stanley.
My word.
What a hit. Caitlin Beavers in the centres this afternoon. Two players you would have thought might be vying for the full-back role at the end of the year, but Beavers certainly making a mark in the centres this afternoon and so far this season.
Both with the number one on the back and both going at it. Super stuff.
Peach to Bell. Bell fancies her chances, drives forward. That takes York very close, but again, Leeds' defence is in there.
You need a quick play of the ball. Peach will have a go.
And she offloads. Here's Holly Dodd with a step, straight into the post.
Fantastic defence, yeah. Once more, just turning them away. Can they hold out?
Here's Stanley. What magic can Stanley come up with? We've seen it from her before, and she's coming to do it again. She's in. Tara Stanley for York City Knights. A little bit of individual brilliance, taking York through and tying the scores.
Oh, fantastic. She's got great footwork, a great left foot step as Tara Stanley. I mentioned earlier, you know, Beavers went after her, left a bit of contact on her, but fast forward 3 plays later, it's that girl there who leaves a mark on Beavers. Beavers can't handle her on that occasion. She shouldn't be allowed to get that far across the field. The inside defenders need to do more for Leeds Rhinos, but take nothing away from her. She skips across and skims, gets Caitlin Beavers one-on-one and leaves her for dead and just puts the ball down in the corner. Terrific response from York.
I think everybody will point out about the left foot step from Tara Stanley.
Oh, it's wicked, isn't it?
They know it comes, but stopping it is an entirely different matter.
Well, I've seen it off kick-off, her very first carry, you know, while there was no one around her, she just come hard off her left foot. And I thought to myself in my head, we'll certainly see that again throughout the 80 minutes. And it's took us 12 minutes to see it. Just a little step, and it's only a subtle thing, but it just allows her to get on the outside and use her pace and her strength just to get rid of Caitlin Beavers and score in the corner. It's 4-4 with a kick to come. It's a difficult one for her as well. 2 metres inside of the field, 25 out.
That was Stanley's second try of the league season. She's kicked 8 goals so far in these last 2 Super League matches as well. Let's see if she can add to it here.
But I tell you how that try all came about. Oh, just off the post pad there.
It's 2 kicks this afternoon.
But it all came about off the return from Kelsey Gentles. If you think back, you know, it was just. We're seeing the try here again. That little left foot step, gets away, gets on the outside of Beavers, and scores in the corner. But yeah, Kelsey Gentles, his starter, intent to get the set going forward, and then Sinead Peach jumped off the back of it, and it just wins your field territory. You get to the end of your set, and they give away 2 penalties, and we mentioned penalty try. Well, it's happened again.
Yeah, on you.
It's the Leeds Rhinos to kick off, and we've certainly got a game on our hands, I think, already here at the LNER Community Stadium this afternoon as the kick comes through to restart play.
Can't let it bounce.
Oh, straight into the arms of Tara Stanley. I think York probably fortunate there rather than getting underneath it.
Yes.
Here's Stanley again. She's just got Goldthorpe to get around. Goldthorpe, of course, another player with pace, just like Tara Stanley, but look at the space that Stanley has made. The ground given for York City Knights. Allowed to run freely up the centre of the field by Leeds Rhinos, and there's Liv Wood now for York. York certainly with the momentum. And it's a knock-on.
Yeah, it's not what they needed there. You know, Tara Stanley, she had a massive couple of minutes, hasn't she? But I will question the Leeds Rhinos defence, especially off kick-off. You can't be letting her just run straight through like that. You've got to get together, get connected, especially after conceding a try. It's important that you do the right things in that next set. We see here, Wood, she can't hold the ball under pressure from those two.
Well, we said momentum with York City Knights, but it's mistakes like that that can soon turn the momentum in a game.
Yeah.
And give it potentially to Leeds Rhinos. Let's see what they can do with this ball from the scrum. Out along the line to Hannah Butcher. Butcher, another player who's probably not first thought of being in the centres, but her and Caitlin Beavers have been there for the last few weeks for Leeds and certainly been doing wonderful things in those positions as well on the field, as Goldthorpe now just steps around twice around the defence before taking play back towards the centre of the field.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of joy today, doesn't there? Just coming back in the inside of the field. That's terrific defence there, driving her back. But there seems to be a lot of joy with stepping back and coming against the grain and attacking both middle units of these two sides. Seems to be plenty of metres in and around it.
So Bennett organises the troops. She's got the runner.
Right side,
That's a good hit again.
Anderson brought down by Holly Dodd.
Put some big tackles in as Dodd so far.
And Leeds come attacking down the right-hand side. That's a lovely ball.
Oh, yes.
Here's Kerrigan. Kerrigan, she's got support from Gaines. Gaines is going to be caught by Tara Stanley. York City Knights wrestling her into touch. Great work from York City Knights, but Leeds looking dangerous coming down the right-hand side there.
Yeah, no, super. Yeah, Earnshaw Cudjoe just rolls down the side, plays eyes up, creates a 4-on-3, and it's a lovely little hands between them, and it's a great line there and a super offload. It's just that last bit there. Tara Stanley and Hyde just throwing her out over the touchline to deny them a chance. Terrific defence.
Again, we see Zoe Hornby getting involved in the attack for Leeds Rhinos, really setting things alive down that side. But just space running out as the defence came through to make sure that Gaines couldn't get through that whitewash. So here we go then with the tap to restart for York City Knights, and it's Gracefield driving through into her opposite number, Danny Anderson, once again. I think we're going to see some real battles in these forward packs. Oh, as that ball goes behind, couldn't be taken by Holly Dodd. And it's Leeds with possession again, 20 metres out. The ball is played, it goes to Beth Lockwood. Lockwood drives forward, right smack in front of the post now for Leeds. Bennett, long ball, finds Roach. Roach, little show and go, the space out wide. Here. Sam Hume takes a high pass.
Oh, yes.
Great defence again coming in from York City Knights.
Fantastic stuff there from Renoff. Just meets her, hits her with everything, and manages to force her over the sideline again. It's two wonderful pieces of play defensively from York. They're keeping them in this game so far. But look at the desperation here and the commitment. So patient. Out on that edge, Whitehead and Renoff. Knows that Georgia Roach can find that pass, but work hard from the inside out. Just clatters her over the sideline there.
Well, Liv Whitehead pulling off a try-saving tackle in that win against St Helens a couple of weeks back for York City Knights as well. She's certainly a young player coming through at the club, and certainly these last few weeks has put her own name on that shirt and made sure that she's been named on the wing. Bit of a stoppage in play. The players just taking a chance to get some fluid on board.
I think it's Sam Hume there over on that far side. Injured off that collision from those two, Renoff and Whitehead.
not a particularly warm day this afternoon at the LNER. It's been a lot warmer, I think, across the country in the last day or so, but temperatures have certainly dropped today.
We're almost a quarter into this game, and already we've seen these two sides. They're willing to throw the ball around and willing to do some of the nitty-gritty stuff up front.
And so it'll be York that get things started again.
Not a bad place, really, to turn the ball over.
No, and York have been finding the gaps in that Leeds defence from that position as well, and earning that extra territory.
The Leeds Rhinos, the most of the threat has come on this right-hand side of attack, hasn't it? And obviously, we've seen that try earlier on, but then we've just seen that little passage of play there through Earnshaw Cudjoe, finding once again Zoe Hornby. You know, that combination between them two is proving good so far.
A cry of go on, Kels, from the York City Knights players as Kelsey Gentles tries to take that ball through. She's driven back a little by that Leeds defence.
Looks like she's struggling here.
Yeah, looks like it's a bit of a limp going on. Excuse me. So Tara Stanley then with the kick downfield. Goldthorpe beneath it, takes it cleanly.
Yeah, you've got to get one connected line on her, and they do that time. There's no point trying to rush down there on your own because she'll beat anyone one-on-one. And Hyde deals with her there on that occasion.
Here's Gaines coming in off the wing. It just feels this game's settled all of a sudden, that it's very much just slugging it out in the middle at the moment, isn't it? Nobody looking to do anything too flash, just to settle things a bit. Yeah, and both of these sides have got to be prepared for the scoreboard to look exactly the same up until the 78th, 79th minute if needed. Certainly Lindsay Anfield has talked to her York City Knights team about being patient in games such as this, games such as St Helens. And of course Leeds Rhinos coming up against St Helens in their next game in a couple of weeks' time as well. So what can Leeds make of this? Anderson held up in the tackle. Bennett is there with her. And it is very much something that's being played right up the middle for the majority of the tackle count again. We see another run going straight through, straight forward, trying to find gaps up the centre of the field. Here's Roach now, bit of a show and go. Oh, not the best of passes to Goldthorpe, who has to turn and drop on that. That's a little bit of momentum just broken down there for Leeds Rhinos. Yeah, it's not something you normally see Georgia Roach doing. I just wonder if there's a little bit more on her shoulders this afternoon, a bit of a... Oh, without doubt, but look, she'll have to enjoy that, you know, and no doubt she'll relish in that challenge of missing someone so dominant like Winfield Hill. But she's a quality player. And there's a kick through. Underneath it is Whitehead, takes it cleanly again, and here's Whitehead going. Desperate tackle there, and had to be as well. She's been seen to break through from that position 2 or 3 times already this season and score. She's certainly been an asset for York City Knights out on that wing. She's certainly a player that's caught my eye over the last few games anyway. So here's Peach for York City Knights. She's got a terrific running game, hasn't she, Peach? It earns aside a penalty just through wanting to play direct. Yeah. And she did take that quickly, didn't she? She really tried to get a bit of pace coming through from acting half then, and it paid off. I'm a real fan of her, Sinead Peach. I think she does wonders for this York City outfit, both with and without the ball. Quite an aggressive player as well. Yeah, good leader. Good leader for the Knights. Oh, I think as somebody for the oohs in the background as the ball was thrown back on the pitch from the stand, I think it might have hit somebody right at the front. Dunked him on the head, didn't it? No damage done though, so we're all right. No casualties in the stand on the far side. So here we go then, York City Knights with Liv Wood. Credit to Leeds defence though, because what the Knights are throwing at them, they're pretty much standing up with so far. I wonder how long that can go on, because there's going to be only so long you can manage that for. But what I will say about Leeds is they've only been tested once on their own line, and they failed their assignment, didn't they, with that try from Tara Stanley. But for York, they've had to do an awful lot of defending on their line in this opening 22 minutes. So I think it's advantage York for me in that department. I'm just wondering whether Leeds Rhinos, you know, it'd be great to see York get to the end of this set here and put a clever kick in. They don't have to score every time they're down here, just build pressure, because they've shown so far that if this Leeds Rhinos outfit are on their own line, then there's points there for them. Gracefield. This is the last for York City Knights. Let's see if they can put more pressure on that line. Sinead Peach, nice little grubber kick through. It finds a gap as well. And that's exactly what I've just been talking about there. Wonderful play. Sinead Peach again, so clever. Tara Stanley comes in and gives her a big hug because she knows that's a big play for them. It's just another chance to drain the petrol tank of Leeds Rhinos, asking them to defend more on their own line.
I'm going to predict that York City Knights will get over in this set. I might be wrong.
Alicia Watson doing the work in defence there, just mopping up that ball to be sure that Liv Wood couldn't get the touchdown as the dropout is taken, but the referee isn't happy about something, just blows his whistle and asks for it to come back.
No, it's not a shot clock.
Lovely kick there, wasn't it?
Beautiful, yeah.
Perfect weight, precision, all there. And the defence as well to get hold of her and take her over the line. Brilliant stuff.
So the dropout taken again. Taken safely by Andrade.
Didn't she have a good year last year as well, Savannah Andrade?
Yeah, almost a breakthrough year for her, wasn't it?
Yeah, fantastic player. Another one of those who were pushing Hardcastle and Carrie Roberts for that centre position.
Liv Wood brought down, of course, Andrade this afternoon, as she has been for the last couple of games in the second row for York City Knights. Whether that will be longer term her position, we'll see as Field drives forward.
I think she's been fantastic as well in this opening half for York. It's a quick play of the ball as well.
Here's Bell. Tries to drive forward. She's got the strength. A strong player, Jazz Bell. Held up again by the post. It is. It's Marshall that's on your right. So here's Stanley.
That left
Step
foot again.
Out wide. Finds Renouf. Renouf goes to ground. This is the last for York City Knights.
Go!
And the ball comes back towards infield. Here's Tara Stanley, tries to do it herself again, but the Leeds Rhinos defence reads it this time. There's no way through for Tara Stanley. The referee just bends down to check, and the Leeds Rhinos defence does its job. But look how many players are in around Tara Stanley there.
Yeah, desperate defence as well. Well, they've answered my question about them. I thought York could get over that time, but they showed a bit more steel in the defence there. Tara Stanley once again, just coming off that left foot. Someone's got to pressure her from the inside. She can't just skip past and get to people that she wants, but what I will say is, you don't always have to score. Sometimes you look for repeat sets. That's the perfect result, really, after a try. But doing this, turning the ball over 2 metres off your own line and asking these real tough carries now to come forward and take the ball forward. The very, very difficult carries these. As I think it's Hannah Butcher there, who's met again by a wall of amber and white jerseys. But this is so difficult now. It's who wants to put your hand up and take it forward. And York City Knights are going to get the ball back.
Yeah, an error coming there from Caitlin Beavers. The referee signals a knock-on.
That's what it does. It puts you in that mindset there of almost worrying about carrying off your own line, especially when defence, led by Marshall, led by Peach, they're just getting up and coming after you. And it's more pressure now for the Rhinos to deal with. Third set.
It's certainly been territorially the advantage to York City Knights in these latter stages of this half so far. So let's see if they can capitalise on it. We talk about don't come away from your opponent's line without points, but we've mentioned it as well, Kyle. Patience can be just as important.
Yeah, exactly. And just that little ball carry there from Tara Stanley, just to get held up. She tried for a try herself, but, it doesn't matter if you get, turn the ball over a metre off your own line, because you can force errors, and we've just seen an uncharacteristic one from Caitlin Beavers. Quality player, but comes up with the error there.
So here's Marshall. Marshall to Field. Half a gap for Field. It looked like it was opening up there, but the Leeds Rhinos defence closes in.
And that's why Rhiannon Marshall's so good. She's got the skills of a half-back. She'll tip the ball on again here.
Here's Liv Wood. Wood, again, the defence just dropped off a little bit there. Half a gap opening up once more for York City Knights, but driven back.
And they're knocking on the door now, aren't they? There's some real heat.
Peach along the line. Oh, wild pass, but it finds Stanley. Stanley goes around. Stanley goes through. Going for the corner and into touch. Good work there from the Leeds Rhinos defence.
Caitlin Beavers. What a battle we're seeing here between these two sides. But what about the footwork as well? She's a real threat. Watch this.
Yeah, the foot was in touch.
It's committed defence once again. That's what will please Lewis Fossell. I've no doubt that she'll be mentioning that. Their ability that every time that York look threatening, the amount of numbers that are there for Leeds Rhinos is encouraging. And she's hot on her heels, isn't she?
Yeah, it needed to be a good tackle, did that as well, because Tara Stanley was going in there for York City Knights' second try, so good work there from Leeds Rhinos' defence. 4 points apiece. Nothing really to separate these two sides, and I expect it will certainly swing with momentum numerous times, even before half-time, never mind the second half that we've got to come.
Yeah, the Leeds Rhinos now, it's important that they just roll forward, get to the end of the set.
On this line here.
And that I'm loving that battle between them two, isn't it? It's turning out to be a real contest.
Yeah, a great hit on her. Great hit on her from
Beavers in the centres. She knows that Tara Stanley's fancying that right-hand side.
Yeah.
I've liked Caitlin Beavers in the centres from what I've seen of her so far this year, and she's obviously part of the England squad as well, the England performance unit, and it will throw up some questions, I think, when it comes to selection later in the year.
Look, as well, and you've got Hannah Butcher on the other side, who I thought was absolutely outstanding against Amy Hardcastle. There's not too many people in the game that can keep Amy Hardcastle quiet. You know, there was only one occasion where she just got it a bit wrong, and it led to a try. But other than that, I thought she was outstanding. I've not seen anyone do things like that to Amy Hardcastle, and she was so good in defence that day.
Yeah, she did a proper job on her that day,
yeah.
did Hannah Butcher. Danny Anderson then for Leeds Rhinos. She's brought down on the halfway line. Bennett again assessing what's going on. She's got Earnshaw Cudjoe. She takes the ball herself into that York line. Marshall in there with the tackle.
I just feel this is an important set for Rhinos now to finish it on their terms after surviving that assault from York for about a 5 or 6 minute period.
There's a kick downfield coming in from Roach. Oh, Stanley uncharacteristically makes a bit of a mess of that, but faces her own line and picks it up cleanly. Tries to get around the defence, but yeah, what a chase coming in.
I'm telling you, there's more going on between these two than meets the eye. There's a certain battle on there. Caitlin Beavers, she accelerates into that contact. I think it's out of respect for each other, to be fair. I don't think there's any malice in it, but they are competing for the same shirt come the end of the year. And it's brilliant. I honestly mean it. I think it's wonderful now that we've got players from other clubs now pushing and competing and standing out in games that need to be noticed by Derek Hardman and Craig Richards, you know, the England setup.
Well, a penalty awarded to York City Knights. Leeds Rhinos caught offside.
And I know those two have been in and around the squad, but, you know, I just think it's great for the game. It's inspiring for all the other players in other clubs, isn't it? Work hard on your game and you'll get rewards.
So the kick for touch taking York upfield. Of course, Beavers been operating at fullback until recently for Leeds. Tara Stanley, fullback for York City Knights, had the England shirt last year as well. Beavers been used on the wing for England, so yeah, quite a few battles I expect to be unfolding, I think, as the season goes on. And another penalty, head-high tackle this time, says the referee.
Yeah, Earnshaw Cudjoe just couldn't deal with the intent there from the carry-off attack from that girl, Lacey Owen.
Owen seems to have blended in quite nicely,
yeah,
even though she's not been
straight away, hasn't she? There, and big carries like that with just intent and purpose to want to knock players out of the way. That's what she's brought in for.
So here we go with York driving through. Let's see what they can make of this on this set. Half an hour or so gone in this match.
4-4, perfect, what we wanted. We knew it would be a tight, close game, didn't we, Sharon?
Yeah.
And it's certainly delivering on that occasion.
Andrade taking it through. Peach. Wood goes through as a dummy runner, but she finds Marshall instead in the left-hand side as the defence have to really work to bring Rhiannon Marshall down, a former Leeds Rhinos player herself.
One thing you can do with dealing with Rhiannon Marshall, if you get her on her back, you will get a slow play of the ball, but she has got an offload and has got a kick.
Here's Dodd, half a gap for Holly Dodd. She can find the space as well, can Dodd. She can really slice through when she sees a bit of daylight. Here's Peach. Keeps it moving to Stanley. Stanley tries to go herself. Oh, a wild offload, taking a chance there, but it pops up in the arms of Caitlin Beavers, and the referee says it went forward anyway.
And that's the thing that Lindsay Anfield was talking about, isn't it? That patience of that just stick to task. And on that occasion there, Tara Stanley, well, it's an outrageous offload, isn't it? You know, if it comes off, we're all sat here saying how wonderful that was. Yeah. But on that occasion, I don't quite think that that's the right play that's needed, especially when Leeds have been under assault for, you know, for the last sort of 8 or 9 minutes. I just think that patience, that bit of detail that perhaps Lindsay Anfield alluded to, that's what was needed there. But Tara Stanley, she seems to be everywhere at the minute.
Do you know, I think York have got away with that, haven't they? I think it's just, did the referee indicate that was York head and feed? He did. It's the Knights head and feed.
Right, well, pardon me.
So here's Holly Dodd. I thought it was Leeds as well. Dodd up the middle of the field. Takes play very close. Good strength there from the York City Knights second row forward. Leeds doing well to stop that momentum. Here's Wood. Wood takes a step. Again, going for the post, going for the padding around the post. We seem to have seen so much play around that area where Wood is. Out along the line. Here's Stanley again joining in. Takes a pass from Gale. Oh, what an offload! Oh, Ashley Hyde couldn't take that pass, but what an offload from Tara Stanley with the line begging for Hyde.
Well, Tara Stanley, deep out the back, is able to step again off that left foot. And it's a wonderful bit of footwork in between players, and it gets her arm free. And that flick there, that's beautiful. The Hyde's got to take that in for me. She's got to know that that's in a full-back's game. And those chances, well, there won't be many like that.
Georgia Taylor on the outside of Ashley Hyde. They're on from the bench in place of Kelsey Gentles, who we saw limping a little bit earlier on. So her return from injury hasn't lasted very long at all this afternoon. It's actually a finger injury with Kelsey Gentles. She'd dislocated her finger in a freak accident in training, and I heard the details, and it really wasn't very nice to recount at this time of day.
I see the pictures as well on social media.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oof, thankfully I didn't.
A reminder how tough and physical this game is, and how tough and physical the players are as well. But that chance there from Ashley Hyde, well, that was an absolute gift, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Couldn't take it in. And it's a let-off for the Rhinos, who really now need a big set more than ever.
Yeah,
Kick the ball long, but chase hard as well, because, you know, I've mentioned her a number of times. She's on fire today, Stanley.
Yeah, Leeds, I think, as you mentioned, a big set. They can really try and just grasp this by the scruff of the neck now with that missed chance from Ashley Hyde, giving them the possession back. But this is the last of the set, and they're still inside their own 40. So if they're going to have to come up with a piece of magic, if anything's going to come from the end of this, could Joe? Bit of a wild ball to Kerrigan, who just, I think, panics there as the defence closed her down, and the kick really sending Leeds back downfield. Absolutely, and we're still on the last. Leaving Goldthorpe now having to do what she can with the boots. That turns Liv Whitehead, and ultimately, she takes it into touch.
Come on. You've got to be smarter than that, Liv Whitehead.
She would have been better, I think, just leaving
let the ball go if you can't get there. That's a bad error, but Tara Stanley in there she knows what.
And the ball, it's been given to York City Knights. The referee, I think, just awarding a penalty there.
I wonder what for there. Well, it's just been a moment of madness there, hasn't it? Leeds Rhinos, we needed a yardage kick. Ends up putting an attacking kick on themselves. I'm not sure I've seen that one before. You know, the back rower there finds the ball in her hands. Chloe Kerrigan.
Well, again, I think a bit of a let-off for York City Knights. Whatever happened to award them that penalty.
But the Rhinos have got 5 minutes to see this out, get in the sheds and refocus. Because the second half to this half has been all York.
So possibly into a crucial stage of this first half with York again getting that vital territory from a bit of indiscipline from Leeds Rhinos. And here goes Andrade for York City Knights. Sorry.
They just seem to be playing with a bit more purpose, and that's probably because the amount of defending that Leeds have had to do. They're rolling forward once more here through Liv Wood. They're going to get the ball into Rhiannon Marshall's hands. And I'm expecting a little short, soft pass here. But no, she carries it herself, mixing a game up great.
And keeps her legs working as well to gain a few extra metres going towards that try line. Here's Peach. She looks to her left and the ball goes to the left to Gail. Gail tries to take it herself. Well in there from Chloe Kerrigan for Leeds Rhinos.
Yeah.
So York again try and build for this, the last of the set. They've got runners coming through, and there goes Wood. Wood hits that ball strongly. She won't get through that surely as the Leeds Rhinos defenders crowd around her and push her back, and that'll be the turnover.
Yeah, and not a bad place to turn the ball over, but I'm going to throw a question to you, Sharon. Is it Leeds defence or is it poor attack? I'm not quite sure there. Although Leeds had to deal with it, there wasn't too many questions asked in that set, was there?
No, it was very much
just try the route one approach, yeah. Just trying to knock the front door down. Well, they can't do this against Leeds. For me, they look more threatening when they move the ball and get it into Tara Stanley's hands, you know, out on that edge, on both sides even. That's a wonderful break there.
Sam Hume doing the work for Leeds Rhinos, taking them to just outside their own 30. And Leeds really could do with a territory here to try and work something through that York City Knights line.
Carries like that there from Sam Hume. Just get yourself out of trouble. Well, they need a few more of them. You just see here in the picture, she just gets on the outside there. Whitehead and Renoff manages to buy 30 metres of land.
It's been another player in good form as Sam Hume so far this season. As Bennett takes it, working on the short side, Leeds Rhinos.
Yeah, nice little play there. Roach seeing something come from one side of the ruck to the other.
Goldthorpe almost bursting out of that tackle as well, but a second attempt, a second bite of the cherry, I think, from York City Knights, just making sure from Liv Wood.
Big fan of Fran Goldthorpe as well, but she's been quiet, hasn't she, so far?
The kick for touch then from Georgia Roach, just finding the edge of the field, just outside the York 20. I think Leeds will probably be a little bit disappointed with the way, you've alluded to it already, Kyle, just the way they're finishing the sets this afternoon.
Well, they started brightly, didn't they? You know, they spent the opening 10 minutes down exactly where they are now, asking York to come off their own line on a number of occasions. But it just seemed to be right on the 20-minute mark. It's just games just flipped on its head, and it's been all York ever since. You know, they perhaps need just a little. They need half time. They really do, just to refocus, settle down again. Because they need the lion's share of the possession if they're going to get anything here today.
So York with a few substitutions, a few fresh legs. Daisy Sanderson, one of them, just with the ball in hand. Hauled to the ground by Danny Anderson around her.
She almost tried to promote the ball there, didn't she?
Yeah. Holly Dodd, a little bit of a dummy. Not read by, or should I say well read by Leeds, not taken by Leeds. And now it's Alicia Clayton, missed the start of the season through injury. On the bench this afternoon for York. Good work there by Leeds again. Hannah Butcher involved for the Rhinos. Clayton plays the ball, think a play, just taking a bit of a knock there for Leeds as Peach goes forward for York City Knights. And this is the last of the set for York, who haven't made too much ground on this particular set. So the kick comes in from Stanley. That's nice. Goldthorpe's underneath it for Leeds. Takes it cleanly. Tries to get around Stanley. Stanley on the chase. Still on the chase is Stanley. Goldthorpe still going forward, but it's Stanley that gets there for York. Great kick and chase coming from the York fullback.
Yeah, she's been outstanding there, chasing her own kick and making that contest again. This time it's with Goldthorpe. Working harder than anyone else, I believe, out there today is the fullback for York.
She does try and take things herself, does Stanley. If it's maybe not quite going to plan, I think she just tries to take the game in her own hands and work.
I mean this in the right way. There's a certain couple of players in York who just look a class above, don't they? And you get that in any sport, in any team. When you've got quality players, you're always in with a chance of winning games, and she's certainly one of them.
Sakudjo adapting half for Leeds. To Roach. Roach, nice little time in there to Danny Anderson.
It's offside as well.
Yeah, good work there by Roach.
And if Leeds can get the mindset here and attack this final minute, they could perhaps do the unthinkable and go in at half-time up.
Certainly territorially and probably possession-wise as well. It's probably the game in favour of York City Knights. But Leeds do look dangerous, I think, every time they get that ball inside the York 20. They've just not had much opportunity so far.
No, they haven't, no. But what can they put together now? You know, they've just done so much defending for 20 minutes. Let's see what they've got here.
Anderson again carrying strongly for Leeds Rhinos. She's done a good stint in the this first half from prop forward. Gets the ball away as well. Marshall's there for York. Bennett along the line finds Roach.
Needs to hold on to the ball here.
Yeah, it wasn't the best of passes to take. It was sort of around the thigh and knee area. She did well there, did Georgia Roach.
Yeah, but look, still stands on her feet, playing the ball on her terms. The York City side aren't set.
Bennett got support from Lacey.
Right, they have to put a play on now. They're in the middle of the field here.
Good strength from Shannon Lacey as well, taking play to that point on the pitch. Bennett, this is looking promising for Leeds. Can they actually get across that try line? Offload comes through. It goes back to Lacey. She hands off one set of defenders. Can't get through the second set. York having to work now right on their own try line.
One to go.
Bennett again. She looks for options. It goes towards the left-hand side to Earnshaw. Kudjo gets it out to Hume, who can't take that ball. That goes to ground. I think the gap was there for Leeds as well, but Sam Hume just couldn't quite take that pass cleanly.
Yeah, well, the devil's in the detail on that play there. It's Earnshaw, Kudjo. There's three other players outside, but none of them are committed to anything, are they? They're almost all flat-footed. You see there, just a triangular shape that nobody's really knowing what the role is on there. And Hume... Earnshaw Kudjo just tries to throw the ball to it, but it's behind. There's a chance gone begging there for Leeds. Terrific defence from York again, though. Rihanna Marshall here. Right on the hooter.
And that's probably a good thing as well, because something has riled Marshall, and she's certainly standing up to the Leeds Rhinos defenders. But the half-time hooter has gone. The referee at the moment just still speaking to his touch judge, though, so the player's not leaving yet for the end of this first half.
Rihanna Marshall there. She obviously didn't like something had happened in that ruck. We'll find out now, but she is a very physical player. A bit of a hothead as well.
She reacted, didn't she, to whatever it was?
Something gone on in there.
Yeah.
She didn't like it.
And Marshall being pulled out and spoken to by the referee. And he's pointing to the sideline without seeing any card. I assume that's a 10 minutes for Rhiannon Marshall. And for Leeds Rhinos, Hannah Butcher is being pulled out.
I wonder what this...
As captain, so it's
like
Earnshaw Cudjoe.
Yeah, 10 minutes on the side as well.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what went on there. They didn't look any foul play, did they? But something's gone on maybe from the other side that we couldn't see. It'd be interesting if we had another angle on that to see if anything actually did go on. There must have been something because the touch judge was straight onto the field. And we end here half-time at 4 apiece. Now we end in dramatic fashion as well.
I just wonder, with Earnshaw Cudjoe, she didn't get a card shown to her. Where... Sorry, Earnshaw Cudjoe did. It was Marshall that didn't get the card shown by the referee. So I just wonder, is it a sin binning with Rhiannon Marshall?
Well, she's headed straight down the tunnel there, so I wonder if it's more than that even. I can't see it.
Yeah, surely.
The referee didn't show a card there. Sinead Peach is beginning the inquest into what exactly went on.
Well, we'll try and find out, but certainly both sides will start the second half with just 12 players. Let's have a look at, well, the action that we've seen in this first half. Just 2 tries, 1 aside, 4 points apiece is the scoreline, and this was the first try from Leeds.
Well, it was early doors there, wasn't it? And it was Zoe Hornby after a wonderful little drop-off there from Georgia Roach, gets in between Sinead Peach and the five-girl defender and scores the opening try of the afternoon. We just see again, just playing with width there from Georgia Roach. She does that a number of times. You know, seen it a number of times in the Challenge Cup final. She elected to sort of do that dummy drop-off and carry the ball to sell on that occasion. She finds the pass. But here now, they're probably the player of the half so far. That girl there we're seeing, Tara Stanley. You know, a number of times she's come off that left foot and created all sorts of chaos around her. And on that occasion there's a wonderful battle that's been unfolding between her and Caitlin Beavers. And those pictures there just show that she's one up at the moment in that department. But she's been lively for York. And then right at the end, we see 2 girls. We're not quite sure. We are trying to find out what colour card it was for Rhiannon Marshall. But Earnshaw Cudjoe, she was certainly shown yellow. Rhiannon Marshall just gets pointed to the sideline. She puts her arms in the air, confused. Probably just as much as we are at the moment. But, you know, 2 players down in the bin. 40 minutes of rugby league to come. And it's 4-all.
Finely poised, nothing really to separate these sides, certainly not on the scoreboard. A big 40 minutes to come from both York City Knights and Leeds Rhinos. Try from Tara Stanley for York, try for Zoe Hornby for Leeds, neither converted. So at half-time here at the LNER Community Stadium, it's York City Knights 4, Leeds Rhinos 4.
The women's Super League champions. The most amazing game for the Leeds Rhinos. Warrington dominating. Great try for the Robins. Huddersfield Giants take the points home. He missed it. It's a poor lad. That is one sensational try. 3 in a row. The Saints. The 3-peat is achieved. An 8th grand final win for the Red Bee.
So Kira, what are your targets for the rest of this season?
I just want to go out there with my teammates, have fun, and I want to win. I do want to win this year. We're looking towards the league leaders now in the grand final, after obviously missing out on the Challenge Cup. But I'm excited to go out there each week and push on and learn more about ourselves and put in some great determination.
So there's a big hype around this season, especially with regards to women. How do you think the season's going to pan out with regards to support and getting the fans behind?
It's definitely a big year for Women's Super League, especially with the World Cup at the end of the year. There's a lot more media coverage even today here. We wouldn't have had this a couple of years back. And the stadiums we're playing on now, it's exceptional and only like what you dream of. So come the end of the year, it's going to be really good. So hopefully the fans do get behind us and bring in big crowds and followers on social media, which is going to be good.
York City Knights against Leeds Rhinos. Kyle, you're on our commentary team for this one. It should be a cracker, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should. You know, Leeds obviously got a great win last week against Huddersfield, and York, who can forget that, you know, they ended up doing Saints for the first time in 2019, that those girls have been beaten at Saints. So, you know, both teams started terrifically, and a lot of people would have, you know, these two teams in that top three come the end of the year. So it's a real benchmark for both to put their stall out ready for the rest of the season to come.
Scully, you've been coming on this show for quite a long time. We've been working with you for a while, and over that time, we've kind of kept speaking about just seeing the women's game grow and grow and grow. And that York win against St Helens a couple of weeks ago, probably the biggest signifier of that. And we've got another genuine, really good game in around here.
Yeah, and you want to see that. You know, we spoke about the men's Challenge Cup final. You want to see close games, and that's something we want to see within the women's game. More competition. You know, Saints have been quite dominant, along with Leeds making, you know, the major finals for a number of years. But to see now York, you know, City Knights women's team not only compete but to topple Saints, and that's a massive shot in the arm for them, and obviously their confidence going forward.
Get ready for the most skillful players, the world's greatest teams, making a proper impact on and off the pitch. Only 200 days to go. The Rugby League World Cup. This is real impact.
So welcome back to the LNAR Community Stadium. Still waiting for the teams to come back out for the second half of this third round match in the Betfred Women's Super League. York City Knights against Leeds Rhinos, 4 apiece at half-time. You can see out on the pitch at the moment is the LDRL teams from York City Knights and Leeds Rhinos. We'll see more of this here at the stadium at the end of this match, the women's game. It's part of a triple header this afternoon at this stadium, with York City Knights men's in action at 3 o'clock against London Broncos. But back to the women's game, 4 apiece. Finely balanced, Kyle Amo.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's been an interesting half. You know, obviously not many tries scored, but you know, almost 2 halves within a half, if you like. You know, the first 20 minutes was predominantly Leeds Rhinos, you know, asking York to come off the line over and over again, but there was a passage in play, and I think it started with Kelsey Gentle's kick return and then led to Sinead Peach jumping off the back of that, got them over the halfway line, and then Leeds Rhinos just seemed to fold from there. They gave penalty, and then that led to that Tara Stanley try over in the corner, and then from that moment on, it was all York, wasn't it? And then right at the end, we had a little bit of drama there between Rhiannon Marshall and Earnshaw Cudjoe, where both of them had been sent to the sidelines right on the hooter, and it makes it interesting now, you know, for this next 40 minutes, you know, all still to play for, and I do believe whoever can settle down first, go back to the game plan, will obviously go on and win this game. But for me, York need to keep playing with the width, keep finding the edges, and for the Rhinos, well, they're making the best when they're just ripping in as hard as they possibly can.
We probably expected it to be a forward battle from what we've seen of these two sides playing each other so far, and from what coaches have said previously as well this afternoon. And I think that is what we're seeing, because there's some big carries from both sets of forwards, some big players in both sets of forwards as well. Yeah,
I think the way Grace Field started the game, she continued from where she was 2 weeks ago with that brilliant display against Saints, and she's led the way. Rhiannon Marshall coming off the bench, well, she's added a bit more spice up front as well. But for me, I think, you know, I've mentioned it a number of times, when they find the ball to the edges, that's where York City Knights' real strike is. But it has been met with some brilliant defence as well from the Rhinos' edges too. And I just think that both teams are very, very, you know, we mentioned the 2 points separated them a couple of weeks ago in that semi-final. It's looking that that's going to be evident here again today. It's important that these two sides you know, can take the game right until the final hoot, and if they have to score, then we'll do it then, you know. It'll be a good battle unfolding for us for sure.
Looking at the halfbacks as well, both sides arguably without what would be their first choice pairing. Lacey Owen making a debut for York City Knights in there with Liv Gale, and Georgia Roach in with Jasmine Earnshaw-Cudjoe in for Courtney Winfield-Hill, who tested positive for COVID. Do you feel that both sides are maybe, without being disrespectful to either halfback pairing, maybe just lacking a little bit of spark, that bit of continuity that they otherwise would have?
Yeah, I think I think the main half out there has been Georgia Roach. I think she's the one that we've sort of seen the best bits of half-back play around her. I don't think the York City Knights' halves have really been too involved in the game, such as the good, you know, the performances of their pack. You know, Sinead Peach jumping out, accelerating, getting in behind the rucks, making it quick. They've almost just had to tip the ball on. Tara Stanley's done most of the kicking. So I'm not saying that they haven't really been involved, but they just seem to be floating in and out of the game, and that's okay if you go on to get a win. But I do think the York City Knights, they can get the ball in their hands more, play a bit wider, and attack the edges of the Rhinos. They'll get some joy. And for Leeds, you know, I think Georgia Roach has certainly been the spark, particularly out on this right-hand side. That wonderful combination that she's been going with Zoe Hornby. You know, you need to see more of that as the game unfolds. But they just haven't been in that sort of field position, have they, to put them players on? You know, they did in the opening sort of 20 minutes, and they managed to come away with a try. But, you know, more of that for Leeds, more field position for Leeds, and they can trouble this side for sure.
Well, York City Knights already out of the dressing room, still waiting for Leeds Rhinos to join them. So clearly Lindsay Anfield has said all she wants to say to her side. Lois Forsell taking a little bit longer. Who would be the happiest coach out of the two, do you think?
Look, I think they'll both be fairly happy. I think Lindsay Anfield, I think she's a bit more of a harder taskmaster. I think she'll be more frustrated with the fact that that York really haven't, there was an opportunity there where Leeds Rhinos defended the line for 10 minutes and they didn't ask enough questions from me with ball in hand. They just tried to barge the front door down, and credit to Leeds, they kept turning them away. So I think in that sense, I think Lois Forsell will be a bit more happier, because she knows that if her side can get into good field position, there's points certainly out there for them. They just haven't had enough of it. But what they have done is, the Rhinos, is they've continually to front up, turn up, keep getting involved in tackles. They've come up with some brilliant try-saving tackles over in that corner through Beavers and Goldthorpe. They just need to keep investing in the defence, but be a bit more patient, be a bit more direct, and crucially, get the ball where they need to be, and that's down the other end of the field.
And there she is, Caitlin Beavers, just coming out onto the field with the rest of the Leeds Rhinos side. And it'll be York City Knights to get things started. The referee, the last man out onto the pitch, or the first man out onto the pitch, actually, isn't he, with the touch judges, if we're going to be absolutely strictly down the line with that one. But anyway, here we go. Matthew Clayton, the referee this afternoon, checking his watch, raises his arm, and Tara Stanley does the same and gets play started for York City Knights in this third round match of the Women's Betfred Super League. And Leeds Rhinos coming forward with Danny Anderson. In some good form, that forward this afternoon, and has been so far for Leeds this season as well.
Both sides now down to 12 players due to them 2 sin bins, if you've just joined us. That happened right on the half-time hooter. So it's important now. That width that I was talking about is probably more important now for these girls to play with. Take advantage of the space, get the ball into the hands through shape and structure, get it out to the strike players and the speedsters out on that side, particularly players like Goldthorpe, Hume, Gaines. Get the ball in their hands, cause some trouble.
But it's still the forwards laying the platform up the middle of the pitch for Leeds as the ball goes to Georgia Roach, who kicks long downfield. And look at the chase as well that's coming through for Leeds Rhinos, but it's picked up by Tara Stanley for York City Knights. And Stanley is brought down inside her own 10.
That's a fantastic chase on that far right-hand side. Brilliant stuff there.
Yeah, so the kick's only as good as the chase, and that chase made sure it was a decent kick.
Gaines and Butcher all over Tara Stanley.
And Leeds just look a little bit sparkier, I think, in these opening exchanges of the second half than maybe what we saw in the first. Just look a little bit sharper, a little bit quicker off the mark.
Yeah.
As Daisy Sanderson struggles through with Danny Anderson. No. And the ball is played and away to Clayton.
They've just let York off there, I think. You know, they've put 3 wonderful tackles in, and the last 2 have just been allowed to roll down the field through this girl here, Savannah Andrade. Spins and finds a front. And now she's going to be able to play the ball quick and put a kick in on their terms now.
And this is the last of the set. So here's Stanley, long downfield over the heads of Tasha Gaines. Probably a little bit too much on that. Oh, it's just going to sit up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to sit up in play.
That's a great kick. What's the chase like? A bit laboured. She'll find the middle of the field, catching the lazy defenders out.
And it's Andrade in there eventually with that tackle. Just does enough to prevent any more yardage being gained for Holly Dodd to come in and complete that tackle. Here's Butcher now from acting half. She gets around Dodd. Can't get around the second wave of the defence that comes in. Bennett.
Go.
Support on her inside. Again, work from Andrade coming in.
Goldthorpe there, Matt. Wants to get on the outside of people, wants to use the footwork, but can't on that occasion.
Here's Beavers, looking strong with ball in hand. Renouf with the tackle, alongside Lacey Owen. Bennett again. Along the line to Roach. Roach keeps it moving. Shannon Lacey has a go, has a chance as well there. Good yards made by Shannon Lacey. This is the last of the set for Leeds. So once again, Bennett offloads to Roach, who kicks over the top of the defence. Did that come off a York hand? I'm not sure it did. It bounces back, though, beautifully and allowed to be taken in the end by Liv Whitehead. But, yeah, a great chase there, pinning York back.
Chases her own kick. The weight on that kick was perfect, in between the full-back and winger. Almost got the bounce of the ball back, but didn't on that occasion, so she was able just to chase her own kick and put pressure straight back onto York again as they come away from the line, 20 metres out.
And York trying to do the work up the centre of the field. As we have seen this pattern developing in this match, the ball is played again to Peach. She's got support from Owen. Owen, lovely step from her.
Plate.
She had support as well with Whitehead on her right-hand side. Decided not to, I think correctly, try and get that ball away. So here's Peach to Andrade. Andrade up the centre of the field, gets around, almost gets around Lacey, looks for the offload to Peach, but decides in the end to hang on to it. And this is the last of the set for York City Knights. On the short side again, it goes to Tara Stanley. Chip over the top. Underneath it is Goldthorpe. She's been safe so far this afternoon in that full-back position for Leeds. And Goldthorpe comes away. Again, met by Tara Stanley, who's getting through so much work this afternoon for York.
Yeah, there's almost like there's two of her out there, isn't there? Yeah. A left-footed kicker, though, on the right side of the field. Well, that kick, obviously, Fran Goldthorpe wonderfully positioned there, just off to the 5 metres to the right-hand side of the pad, and they give away a penalty here. You know, perhaps... select another kicker on that right side. For a left-footed kicker, it's difficult, isn't it?
So Chloe Kerrigan, the player that's brought down as the penalty is awarded to Leeds Rhinos. And Leeds start again, trying to build with Danny Anderson. Again, very much up the middle, not many opportunities for an offload game from either of these sides. The defence of both teams really doing quite a decent job to stop that pass coming out.
And that's that little dummy drop-off play that she done. And I think she's given away a penalty, obstruction there.
She gave herself up as well there, I think, with Georgia
Roach. She should have just went down. That's that dummy drop-off play that she'd done so many times in the cup final. She hit Zoe Hornby on the first one here today. And on that occasion, she chooses to do it, but their outside defenders get it all wrong. And as a result, it's an obstruction. And Tara Stanley will just find touch. 30 metres out from Leeds' line. Good ball set. Let's see what they've got.
Just 5 minutes gone in this second half. It could be crucial points just to settle things in this second period for either side. But at the moment, it's York City Knights that have that command of the territory with that possession as well. There's Alicia Clayton going forward. Strong running from the Great Britain teachers prop forward. So York still in possession with Tara Stanley. Stanley trying to go forward. I won't tell you that Rhiannon Marshall was sent off as well. The referee didn't have a red card, so she was sent off. So York down to just 12 for the rest of the game. Here's Holly Dodd. Dodd going forward. Can Dodd's strength take her through? The defence is in there and around from Leeds. Dodd gets to her feet. The ball is played to Clayton. Short crash ball, and Clayton gets it down. Great work from the forward. Her strength did the job, and that puts York ahead.
Yeah, terrific try from Clayton there, number 10 on her back, and you can see why. Just a no-nonsense carry, spins out, dots the ball down. It looks a simple try, but there's an awful lot of strength and technique goes into that. You know, we mentioned there that they did all first half when they had good ball sets. They just kept trying to knock the front door down. On this occasion, they finally burst through it. And it's through that girl there, Alicia Clayton. Soft little pass from Peach. Hits the ball at pace with purpose and spins out and dots the ball down and gives her side the lead.
Now, both sides have 12 players at the moment. Earnshaw Cudjoe was just a sin bin. She'll be back on. So how crucial was that, knowing now that York will be down to 12 for the rest of the match?
Well, it certainly buys them a little bit of breathing space, because this Rhinos side, they will come back at them at some point, and obviously having that advantage of an extra number might bode well for them, but take nothing away from York. Started this half brilliantly, wasn't it? It's almost set for set, very patient between the two, but it's advantage York. And it's through that just crash bang wallop play from Clayton. Just wants to get over the top of them. A little spin out there just to dot the ball down. It's a lovely simple conversion as well for Tara Stanley. And it's 10-4.
Yeah, it takes the gap out to 6 points for York City Knights. But what a second half we could potentially have ahead of us. York will be on the back foot with a player down. Rhiannon Marshall sent off just at the half-time hooter.
Well, it's another penalty, isn't it, again, that's let them into that try. This time it was with ball in hand, which is a cardinal sin, really. You know, Georgia Roach, and as a halfback, you know, she'll be disappointed with the players in and around her. She knows that she must run that play lots and lots of times in training. So getting your detail right in and around that, you know, to give that penalty away. First half it was penalty try against them. This time it's just a penalty and a try. They need to fix that up, the discipline.
Another 2 minutes before Leeds get back up to their full complement of 13.
And they're going to need all hands on deck, aren't they, here?
And that's an awkward little bounce there from that kickoff from Georgia Roach. But York have players in position and can take it safely and have that possession back. So York, let's see what they can do on the back of that try. They certainly need to try and take advantage now of having the same amount of players on the field, at least for the next couple of minutes. So here goes Peach to Tara Stanley. Stanley, again, that step.
And again.
Here and this opens up space for Tara Stanley. She's still got players to beat, but she's got players in support. And I don't know if she tripped over her own feet or if it was over Lacey Owen, who was very close to her at that point. But York, with that momentum and the possession again with Andrade up the centre of the field. Great tackle from Chloe Kerrigan from Leeds Rhinos. Here's Peach. She's got that support from the try scorer. Clayton runs straight into that wall of blue and yellow, and this will be the last of the set for York City Knights. Will Peach go on the short side? Yes, she will. Tara Stanley calls for it. Again, that step comes in. Still on the last for York. Puts the kick through straight to the arms of Kira Bennett. As good as a pass that one, and Leeds get that ball back.
Poor end to the set there. She looks like she's struggling a bit, doesn't she, Tara Stanley? But what about the footwork before? Beats 4 defenders, and even her own teammate decides to help the Rhinos out and trips her up there. Lacey Owen won't be thanking her for that in the week, will she?
She looks like she's got some sort of springs in her boots, does Tara Stanley, when she goes on that step. A real sort of high knee with it, and as if she's almost trotting, trying to get
again. Look, beats 1, beats 2, beats 3, and goes to beat a 4th. And then Lacey Owen says, that's enough, I'll just trip you up there.
Thanks, mate. But Leeds with that ball, still inside, deep inside their own half of the field. Georgia Roach again tries a little step of her own that time, gets around Ashley Hyde. Can't get around Holly Dodd, bounces off Dodd, looks to get it away as well, but the York defence,
She's wanting someone to take the ball off, and there's no one there. I think she's been one of the bright lights of Leeds so far this afternoon, is Georgia Roach. But people have got to get on that wavelength that she's on.
Yeah, there was nobody there, and the York defence did its job, and we were allowed to crowd around her because there wasn't anybody there for her to do it. Here goes Tara Stanley once more. Oh, beautiful stuff from Tara Stanley.
She's having a field day.
She looks dangerous every time she gets that ball and joins in from that full-back position to that attacking line.
Yeah, it's a joy to watch, Sharon.
Yeah, she's been outstanding this afternoon as Tara Stanley from full-back. Renouf now with the ball, the centre for York City Knights.
Back, full 10.
Gets to her feet. Ball's played to Peach. Oh, well taken there by Wood. Bit of a juggle. The referee, penalty, offside, Leeds Rhinos. Will we see this pattern again, Kyle?
Maybe so. They can't keep doing it. They're killing themselves at the moment. And you would think it was the Leeds Rhinos who were down a number. It's York City Knights. Just rolling forward once more. They get another opportunity in good ball. 40 metres out, sorry. No, 30 out. My mistake.
Leeds back up to the full complement. Here goes Peach for York City Knights. She drives forward. Brought down, takes the ball herself. Plays it. Finds Gale. Gale to Dodd. Dodd. Good injection of pace from Holly Dodd. The crowd on the far side spotted something straight away there. So did the referee. And again, it's another penalty to York for a high tackle this time.
Back-to-back penalties. You know, I make that just 5. off the top of my head, it might even be more, too much. And they'll just elect to nudge the scoreboard over and take it to a full score away from them if Tara Stanley can get this kick. And it's just there. It's Chloe Kerrigan, I think, on wood. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry, it's Georgia Roach, actually. That little bit of footwork just before the line, just before the contact. And a swinging arm from Roach. If Tara Stanley can knock this over, well, it'll become 12-4.
Right thing to do rather than run it, do you think?
I think perhaps so. You're down a number, aren't you, Sharon? You know, just keep that scoreboard ticking over it. Keep mentally sort of taking Leeds Rhinos to a breaking point. They know they're going to have to score twice to get anything out of this game now. But to be honest, they've been nowhere near the try line, have they? I said that's one thing they need to fix up. They need to put some good kicks in, and they did, actually. You know, Georgia Roach put a wonderful kick in down in that corner, and they invested some energy into tackles 1, 2, 3, but then let them off the hook, and York with them then route to roll to the halfway line and, you know, sort of turn the advantage back in their favour. You know, barring one defensive set there, Leeds Rhinos, they just haven't been anywhere near York City's try line.
So Tara Stanley then prepares to add an extra 2 for York City Knights. And it's good.
Yeah.
And it's good. 2 from 3 for Tara Stanley, taking the score out to 12 points to 4 in York City Knights' favour. And the games between these two recently have been tight, and that potentially, even at this stage, could be quite a crucial 2 points.
Yeah, definitely. I've no doubt about that. 12-4, and it comes off the back again of ill discipline. Penalty, another penalty, and points. That seems to be the theme so far the afternoon. But 12-4, they're not out of this, Rhinos, by any stretch of the imagination. But they need something, and they need something soon. And sometimes it can just be as simple as a hard, direct carry to change the momentum back in your favour. But for me, I think it's here they need to invest their energy now. Defensively, aim up. Which they have done there. Wonderful contact there. That's what you want. Hannah Butcher leading the way. Now she needs the other troops to do it for another 4 more tackles. Because ultimately, if they can get them to kick the ball from inside their own half, you know, people like Fran Goldthorpe will happily rip it back in, and that's how you sort of swing the momentum back into your favour.
Daisy Sanderson for York City Knights, I think, mentioned as well for how nicely the kickoff was taken on the far side by Ash Hyde as well. Straight down the throat, no danger at all. But York then with momentum here, going up the middle of the field with Owen.
That's what I'm talking about. They're doing it well for 3 players and then letting themselves down, not being able to deal with the intent there from York. There's a bit of a tangle up there between Bennett as well.
Yeah, almost looked like ponytails got connected, didn't it? Savannah Andrade, a big hit coming in there from the Leeds defence. This is the last of the set for the Knights. Peach, here she goes. Tara Stanley with the kick downfield. Tara Stanley, who plays like a halfback at fullback, really, with the kicking game. It's straight into the arms of Goldthorpe, who takes it cleanly again for Leeds Rhinos and tries to find a gap up the middle of the field. Takes a tackle and goes down.
If you can see what I'm sort of trying to say there, if they'd have just fixed up those little 2 players there, you know, that kick would have been inside their own half, and they'd almost start the play of the ball here rather than 15 metres down. And when you find that it's so difficult to buy land, it's so important that you get that part right. And that's a good carry as well. That'll help them.
Yeah, it's Alex Barnes on off the bench for Leeds Rhinos.
Go. 9, you're off, stay out.
And here goes Frayne.
But listen.
Frayne brought down. Tackle coming in again from Owen. Both these sides unbeaten coming into this afternoon to match. The Knights played 2 games in Super League so far, as we've talked about a lot. St Helens, their last win, the first win of the season in the league, coming against Huddersfield. And Leeds Rhinos beating Huddersfield in just their 1 game so far in this competition. That kick is long and it will go dead as well for Leeds Rhinos. So York City Knights will restart play with that tap. But it'll be interesting because they're coming into another break with the international break coming for the next couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting. I think both sides will want that win before they go into the break, and probably particularly Leeds Rhinos, who've got St Helens up next towards the back end of this month.
Yeah, no, you're dead right. And for players individually as well, you know, there's time to stand up now, isn't it? You know, I'm pretty much certain that Craig Richards will have his side probably figured out, but, you know, performances today and over the weekend will certainly help. You know, if there's a doubt of a 50-50 of who to go with, you know, it's so important that when you're playing for your club that you get them performances as good as you can. There's been some quality performances here today already. But there's still half an hour of this side left. Sorry, 20-25 minutes left to go.
Yeah, the clock has just stopped on the official time, which we can see on the scoreboard, which is away to our left from the commentary position. The clock on your screen is just for guidance. And of course, that's just ticking on as well. So when it gets to the full time on your screen, there will be a little bit of time still to be added on at the end of that. So it's Barnes that's just having a bit of attention from the physio, just making sure she's okay. It looks like she is. Yep, the signal comes from the physio, the thumbs up given, and play will restart with Tara Stanley for York City Knights. And just waiting for the referee's signal to get going again. There we go, and we're away once more with Peach at the middle of the field with Grace Field. She gets through so much work.
She does, yeah, I was just going to say, to have someone like bringing her back on, it must be frightening for your opposition. A real tough, no-nonsense, go-forward kind of player, isn't she?
Wood gets to her feet for York City Knights.
She's here again.
Field again. Nice offload to Andrade, and Andrade looks for support. Can she get that ball out? Yes, she can. Peach is there. Play on, says the referee. Gains a few more metres before the tackle comes in. Leeds defence really having to scramble there to try and just cut down on the gaps that York were just starting to exploit. But it's certainly with momentum now, with Dodd going forward. Again, she just looked like she was turning in that tackle to see what options she had. Couldn't get the pass out. This is the last of the set, though, for York. Here she goes again with that step. It's Tara Stanley up the middle of the field. Leeds are going to be there this time, though. That door will close, but she gets the ball out and away for York City Knights. Still play on, says the referee, but Leeds scoop that ball up, and the Rhinos have possession.
Yeah, just when we thought the player was dead there from Tara Stanley, it would have been a turnover. She pops the offload out, but nobody's there and able to read it. As Beavers now tries her best to break away. But the little pass there from Grace Field, what she did was she carried the ball with purpose, didn't she, beforehand? And as a result of that, the next time she's got the ball in her hands, defenders are attracted to her, and a little soft pass. We're just seeing the offload here, the replay. Nobody there, Grace Field, she can't react first. And now there's a penalty being given.
The ball just coming loose out of the tackle from Caitlin Beavers. Tamsin Renew for judge to have ripped it out. I think she's appealing against it. She's still appealing against it. You can see from her body language, just holding her arms out as to like, why? What have I done? As we just see it again here as the tackle came in.
Mind,
no, there are two people in that tackle to start with, and obviously the ball coming out. The referee certainly not happy, and it was off the back of his shoulder as well. Maybe a little bit hard done to there, Tamsin Renew, but still, Leeds have that possession now, and they're inside the York half of the field. Earnshaw Cudjoe back on. Of course, Leeds back up to the full complement of 13 after she was sin-binned. York City Knights still down to 12 after Rhiannon Marshall was sent off in the same incident on the stroke of half-time. Bennett organises things for the Rhinos. Earnshaw Cudjoe takes on the line, finds Beavers. Beavers tries to take it through and get past Tamsin Renouf. The tackle is made. Owen in there as well.
And again, it has to be.
Yeah, went in for a second bite there, didn't they, the defence? Here's Frayne now for Leeds. Along the line to Watson. Field is there, and that was high.
This is an important part for the Rhinos now. You just get a sense that they're starting to claw their way back into this game. You know, they are a player down at York City Knights, and if this part now in the game, 20 minutes in, when it'll start biting, it's important that the Rhinos just complete their sets, keep tiring the middles out, and take their opportunities crucially when they present themselves, because there hasn't been many for them.
Barnes goes in. This is a big set for Leeds Rhinos to really get themselves back and get the scoreboard ticking. Here's Roach. Roach shows and goes. Shows again and goes herself. Half a gap opening up. Finds Hannah Butcher. Good work from the defence. Butcher's driven back, but Leeds still in a great position. Metres out from that try line. What can they do with it? Oh, they can knock it on. That's what they can do with it. What a mistake coming from Leeds Rhinos. And again, we look at crucial points in a game, and I wonder how big that one will be from Kira Bennett.
Kira Bennett, she throws the ball away. It's a poor error, I have to be honest. She's better than that. Yeah, just loses concentration. Fumbles the ball. And it's a bad error that you've just sort of got your side where, you know, it took you 20 minutes. In fact, really, it took you 40 minutes if you take into account how long it is since they've been down on this line.
Yeah, that's fine.
And you just absolutely blow your first opportunity that you get.
So again, a bit of a stoppage in play while York get the full complement of numbers into the scrum. That seems to happen a lot. What's the matter with you forwards? You just can't count? Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is. I think when you're so tired, you want someone to count for you.
It's easy standing here and saying that, so I'll apologise now. Tara Stanley then takes the ball herself from acting half.
Good work from Marker there.
Yeah. Again, Henshaw Cudjoe in there with the tackle. Here's Wood. For York City Knights, she's brought down. Peach again assesses her options. Looks like she'll go on the left-hand side. She's got Andrade coming through, who's looked pretty good in the forwards this afternoon.
She? Yeah, she's got through a lot of work, hasn't she? So usually plays out in the centre, finds herself in the pack today.
Gale takes it. The future of the club, this kind of player, says Lindsay Anfield, the director of rugby at the Knights. Only 18.
There's an error there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a knock-on that's come from her.
Just as you were giving her a rap, comes up and drops the lollies.
So this will give possession back to Leeds Rhinos. Just see the incident there.
That's encouraging there from the Rhinos now. It's the first time that they're going to start a set on the halfway line. So often the set's begun through Goldthorpe kick returning, hasn't it? And now they're just going to take over advantage line and get into the York City Knights, heading towards their try line.
Barnes offloads to Hornby. Good drive again from the loose forward. Again, Andrade in there with a tackle for York. That's a nice pass to Anderson as well. Hits that ball at pace. Can't manage to get away, and that's good work again from the defence, bringing Anderson back to the point that she practically started on taking that pass. Anderson's work undone. Here's Roach now. Indicates where she wants the players. Takes it herself in the end. Nothing really on. Just a slight lack of, I think we've mentioned it before, maybe a little lack of communication on that far side from the Rhinos as Hannah Butcher goes forward. But still, they've got that player advantage. This is the last of the set. Bit of a wild ball back to the centre of the field. Finds Cudjoe, who chips over the top into space. Taken nicely, and it had to be by Liv Whitehead because Caitlin Beavers was sniffing around there as well. And York had to do that job with that ball.
Yeah, and that's absolutely okay for the Rhinos as long as they can back it up with defensive efforts. You know, they don't have to score, but what they have to do is just keep York coming off their own line like this and aiming up defensively.
Lacey Owen brought down in the halves this afternoon for York. Better known as a back rower, really, or even in the centres rather than at half-back, but had to do a job there this afternoon. Georgie Hetherington missing for York City Knights because of an eye injury. So here's Peach. Into the centre of the field. Drive coming in from York City Knights. This is the last of their set. Just trying to keep things turning over with Tara Stanley. Kick downfield comes. Awkward bounce underneath it is Gaines. Takes it cleanly for Leeds Rhinos. Makes a good 10 metres before that defensive line catches up with her. And the drive comes in and a penalty awarded. Again, a high tackle.
Yeah, momentum certainly start to swing in the favour of the Rhinos. And the crowd disagree with that. And Gaines... Yeah, no, you can see there, Gale, arms all around her face, making contact with the head there.
Just glancing up at the crowd, that looks quite healthy in the stand opposite us to this afternoon here at the LNE. I've again mentioned before, part of a triple header, but these are in here now watching the Women's Super League, and I think there's certainly a bit of a buzz around the city about this York side recently.
Oh, there's a bit of something going on here. Could be another penalty there. Sinead Peach, I mentioned about her physicality and a no-nonsense attitude.
And it's Chloe Kerrigan
there, who doesn't agree with whatever's gone on in that ruck. The linesman again, he's been busy this afternoon. He's had to go onto the field a few times.
I think Peach just brought her arm over the top there.
Yeah.
Not quite sure why, but...
It's just a bit of that, isn't it? A bit of a forearm into the back of her head. Doesn't like it. It's another penalty. So he's gone another penalty, back-to-back penalties here against them.
And the kick for touch from Leeds Rhinos will take them inside that York 40. The tap from Bennett, who's going to excel through a lot of work this afternoon as Anderson goes forward. She's impressed me in the pack for Leeds Rhinos today.
Yeah.
But again, great defence, driving her back, just taking her back 2 or 3 metres from those that she gained.
And just going back to that crowd, Sharon, it's important for York as well that they've got a team that they're really proud of, and I think that they are here. I think that there's a lot of noise around what the women are doing and a lot of celebration for it. You know, the more that people can get behind these girls, the better for the city.
Oh, good drive from Barnes for Leeds Rhinos. Strong running there from the forward, on from the bench. Plays the ball quickly as well. It's away to Roach. Roach again with that show and go. Has got Anderson crashing through.
Wonderful defence
well
again.
done there again. Grace Field, the player in there for York City Knights.
Yeah.
But Leeds looking dangerous inside this York City Knights 10-metre area. Bennett takes it on the left-hand side this time, and there goes a strong run from Leeds. And that looks like it's a try. The referee just checks with his touch judges, points to the spot, and it's Zoe Hornby, the player, that's got Leeds right back into this.
Yeah, she gets a brace for the afternoon. Zoe Hornby. I thought for all money it was going to go through the hands of Georgia Roach again, because so often that's what's been going on with the Rhinos.
Yeah.
But it's off the back of 2 penalties as well that lead to that try. And we've mentioned all afternoon for both sides that penalties has been the key, the downfall to both teams. And we see here the penalty there. The first one was given there from Gale on Tasha Gaines. The second one was followed up by Sinead Peach. And then from that, it's just a pure strong run, isn't it? Another try for the loose forward. She's been sort of one of the standouts, hasn't she, for the Rhinos? And she's got her side right back into this contest with the simplest of tries, just a straightforward carry. You know, the York City Knights have been defending it so well, haven't they, in and around that ruck. And on that occasion, Zoe Hornby's power, determination and drive to get over the line proves to be crucial there. And the extras are added as well.
And that could be crucial too, from the boot of Sam Hume, taking Leeds Rhinos now to within just 2 points of York City Knights.
Yeah, when you lose Rhiannon Marshall, who's defends in and around that area, you're asking your other players to do more tackling, more moving because of a number down. And eventually, well, the dam burst, didn't it? Zoe Hornby pulled aside right back into this. So we're all set here.
We've
2 points in it.
Around 13 minutes left in this match. It is still finely poised. It is still too close to call. One of these sides' unbeaten record will go this afternoon. Will it be York City Knights or will it be Leeds Rhinos? We will find out over the next 13 minutes. But it's York City Knights with their noses in front as Tara Stanley kicks off again for York. Lovely kick-off, well taken. And here we go again with Barnes charging up the middle of the field.
Brilliant.
Hit by Liv Wood, and the tackle is complete. But that was a determined run coming in from the Leeds prop forward, and Leeds just look like they've picked up the pace a little bit with that play of the ball as well.
They've got belief behind them for the first time this afternoon, haven't they? And that's a good response there as well from York. I mentioned they just need to keep targeting in and around the ruck, making the forward pack of York moving. Keep making them make decisions, keep making them make efforts, and eventually get the ball into the hands of Georgia Roach, because there's, again, I still believe there's more points out there for the Rhinos. If they're willing to do the tough stuff, opportunities will present themselves.
Strong run there again from Beavers. The ball with Earnshaw Cudjoe. She goes up the middle of the field, met by Grace Field. That wall that is Grace Field for York City Knights. Also in there as well, getting through the work, Liv Wood. And look where Leeds are, only on the halfway line. Good work from the defence. The kick from Georgia Roach. Oh, not taken by Beavers. I didn't think it was the best of kicks until it was going straight into the arms of Caitlin Beavers, and then something really could have been on there.
Grace Field there with tremendous kick pressure, forces the kicker to just hack it forward and doesn't get where it wants. You see here there, kick pressure from Field, and the ball, it ends up in the hands of Goldthorpe, I think it was. Oh no, Beavers, sorry, can't deal with it. The York City Knights, it's their turn now to roll forward into good ball. 10 minutes to go, 2 points in it.
Possession will be crucial for York City Knights with that 2-point advantage, but that one player deficit. Short ball goes in. Leeds having to defend as York roll into that 30-metre area. The ball with Tara Stanley. Attacks that line. Little pass to Andrade. Steps back on the inside. Tries to find a way through. She can't. Good tackle coming in from Barnes. But it's York still with that possession, still with that momentum to Liv Wood. Takes that pass beautifully from Sinead Peach. But again, like you say, the tackle is in there, and that could be crucial as well. This is the last of the set. The ball, it stepped. Half a gap for Renouf. Renouf goes in. She had a try disallowed in the Challenge Cup semi-final. That one will stand this afternoon, and that could be massive for York City Knights.
Yeah, you just get the impression there that that's just burst the bubble of the Rhinos. Caitlin Beavers is down in back play. I think it's her that jumps the gun and tries to shut the player down and gets beaten for footwork. And the try scored eventually where she should be. There's zero line speed there from the Rhinos. It was poor from them. We'll get to see how it all unfolds again. But it's there, yeah. Caitlin Beavers just tries to get out on it and can't. And it's a vital try there. Lacey Owen does it for footwork. And Renoff probably wins the game for them there. There's still 10 minutes to go. Caitlin Beavers, yeah, gets it all wrong, but the inside defence, the A and B from Leeds Rhinos just don't even get off the line. They're all lateral. It's a misread and a try for the York City Knights.
Good work from Lacey Owen there. You see the footwork and you see the body movement as well with the ball, how she just sort of turned and just popped it up for Tamsin Renouf, who made no mistake on that occasion. So Tara Stanley then with the conversion attempt. I'm sure Tamsin Renouf will be thrilled with that, because had that try stood in the semi-finals, it would have been the Knights going through to the Challenge Cup final and not Leeds Rhinos. The last pass that went out to Renouf on that occasion was deemed forward, and that was massive that day for Leeds Rhinos, and it just kept them in front in that game. But here today in the Super League, Tara Stanley trying to extend York City Knights' lead. And it's been a very entertaining second half. I think I was saying to you at half-time, Kyle, that the game was still lacking a little bit of spark for me. Well, we've just seemed to have found it for me in this second half as Stanley comes in.
Yeah, well,
no mistake at all there. The extra two coming in from the boot of Tara Stanley. An 8-point advantage now for York.
Yeah, and Leeds Rhinos, they had to work so hard to get back into this. You know, the encouraging thing for the Rhinos, I think they've had about 3 sets, haven't they, on York's line, and they've come away with 2 tries, but they just haven't been able to get down that end of the field all afternoon. And their ability to not, you know, it's a poor read from Beavers, and it just allows Renoff just to fall over. Wonderful work from Owen. Sees that Beavers is approaching and steps hard off her foot, supplies the pass for the try. But there's 9 minutes left, and what have the Rhinos got? Have they got anything in them to have they got any belief in them that they can go after this game and still win?
Tara Stanley again, look at that step. Yeah. Look at that step, and she's still going. She's support on the outside from Owen, of course, former Castleford teammates there. I think that certainly will help how Lacey Owen's fitted into this York City Knights side, the heavy Castleford contingent. And Kelsey Gentles is back on the field with a left leg heavily strapped. She's made... oh, what a tackle! What a tackle coming in there, and a penalty awarded as well. Hannah Butcher deemed to have tipped her, I think, in the air. Kelsey Gentles just smiles as she gets up and walks away from that one.
What a hit. What a tackle. I'll have to have a look at that again to see if there was actually any foul play in it. Oh, yeah, my word, yeah, she's lifted her well and truly above the horizontal there. Butcher, a real solid defensive player. Just gets that one slightly wrong, doesn't she? We just see there, that could be dangerous, that.
A strong tackler is Hannah Butcher.
She sure is, yeah.
Strong, but just like you say, got it wrong on that occasion.
Got it slightly wrong, yeah. You know, no one's hurt, so it's okay. Get on with it.
Yeah, Gentles getting up to her feet pretty sharpish after that and ready for it. I think the smile on her face, she knew that decision was going to be given in favour of York City Knights. And it's the Knights now again with that position, driving up the middle of the field towards the Leeds Rhinos posts. And here's Peach again. She's got Liv Wood coming through on the left-hand side, and Wood tries to take it herself. Good strong running again from the prop forward.
They're in trouble here, the Rhinos. I'm sensing a try again for York.
Out along the line now with Gale. There's this little ball to Holly Dodd, and Holly Dodd tries to roll away forward. She's going to be held just short, but York really putting that pressure on the Leeds line. There goes Liv Wood. Will she get a try this time for her efforts? She's gone close 2 or 3 times. No, says the referee. She's just short. Here's Peach again with the grubber kick through. Chasing it. Oh, just gone dead. York City Knights again pushing that Leeds Rhinos defence, going close. I think Grace Field, the player that just missed out with that whitewash, getting to the ball before she did. And it's Leeds coming away now from their line with Fran Goldthorpe.
Yeah, clever little kick there from Peach, and Grace Field just can't quite get to the ball. It runs dead.
Here's Beavers now for Leeds, and a penalty.
This is what they need. Here we go. The Rhinos, they need to start playing quick. Body language looks like they don't believe in that there's still a result in this game. There's 5 minutes left.
I agree. I think there's still points left in this. I don't think we've seen potentially the last of it yet. As
they have to do something sooner or later, don't they?
Yeah.
They're running out of time.
And it's Anderson that goes forward for the Rhinos. She's made some good yards this afternoon. A strong performance from the prop.
I think if I was out there, I'd be looking at three solid drives down the middle and then getting the ball to Georgia Roach. But it's Goldthorpe, one of the speedsters as well, who's away.
Goldthorpe brought down 30 metres out from that York line.
Go.
Bennett once more to Roach, who's had to do a lot of work herself at the centre of the field. Yeah,
now go
Barnes.
again, play it quick.
Barnes does the job of a prop, just crashes through, takes play towards the middle of the posts. It's Earnshaw Cudjoe. They've not got numbers too much out wide, or have they? Beavers finds Hume. Hume can't take it. And again, with the overlap works from Leeds Rhinos, the pass just not been able to be taken in by Sam Hume with the gap in front of her. And I wonder, is that where that game turns?
Yeah, I think so. No, I think, look, they're trying to move the ball. It's the first time, really, that they've came down this left-hand side of the afternoon. More often than not, it's gone through Georgia Roach there, but Beavers just can't quite execute that pass on the end. Samantha Hume maybe be a bit more flatter, anticipating that ball. But on another day, it sticks for the Rhinos, that, doesn't it?
And I just wonder, with what we've got a few minutes left in this game, I think at some point, I think you've got to pick the player of the match.
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty obvious where I'm going to go with that one today. In fact, I could even call it now. The full-back Tara Stanley, she's been on another level out there today. Everything that she's done, you know, she's been nudging the scoreboard over with her kicks from penalties. Her kicking game's been outstanding. Kicked herself long and hard out of the field, but her all-round running game has been electric. A try there as well for all the troubles. That wicked left foot step that she's got. Her kick returns out of backfield have been massive, haven't they? There's been a number of them where we've seen where she's beaten 3 and 4 players and got her side onto the front foot. Fantastic player.
Keep working.
So the Betfred player of the match is Tara Jane Stanley.
Yeah, a lot of work out of backfield like we're seeing here. Look at her goal. Just beating everybody on the field for fun. She just looks like she's really enjoying a game, doesn't she? And there's something beautiful about when a player's just doing their thing out there, expressing themselves. She's been doing lots of that this afternoon. She's been brilliant.
So Kelsey Gentles with the ball for York City Knights, somewhere underneath the massive blue and yellow shirts that were on top of her there. And again, a strong run coming through from the York City Knights forwards, just trying to roll them up the field. Peach.
Nice.
To Andrade. Andrade, good angle run by Andrade. Looks to get that ball away to Owen as well, but good positioning from the Leeds Rhinos defence just means that she can't get that pass away cleanly.
Must be into double figures, Andrade, for carries.
Yeah.
She's been heavily involved.
Bell goes through. She's back on the field. This is the last of the set for York City Knights. And here's the player herself, Tara Stanley. Kicking over the top. Oh, beautiful length on that as well before it just bounced to fine touch.
Just smart game management, isn't it? Yeah. 3 minutes on the clock. 8 points in front. Just find the sideline. Tick the score, tick the clock down.
That's all they need to do now, isn't it, York, really, just to keep Leeds pinned back as far as they can upfield and just be patient and respect that possession.
Yeah, just go after them defensively now. Get an opportunity. Still got time for a try themselves if they want it.
And even with the time ticking down on the clock, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see more points in this game still before the final whistle. But I don't know if it'll be towards Leeds Rhinos as York come back up with possession from that knock-on. And it's Holly Dodd. Dodd tries to break free. The Leeds defence scrambles back. The tackle's completed. But York have a set of 6. But I think Hannah Butcher, is it? That looks like she's taken a bit of a knock. And I think Holly Dodd as well. Possibly a clash of legs or knees as that tackle came in. In fact, it's not Holly Dodd, it's Alicia Watson that's down.
Yeah, she's down holding her right knee.
Yeah, Holly Dodd is down for York. Yeah, it looks like it's just cramped for Dodd. She's just getting her leg stretched out, but Watson looks like she came off worse from that collision.
Yeah, you just see here the error out of backfield. She's first one to react, isn't she? The ball carrier. He just gets pulled down here by Watson. Dodd, sorry. Looks like you said, it looks like cramp for her, but it looks like a bad knee injury, I think. I hope she's okay.
I can keep it extra look out for it.
It's a shame, really, for Danny Anderson with that knock-on as well. That's set to play up for York City Knights.
She's been good, hasn't she, for the Rhinos? She's took the ball forward for her side. Her and Zoe Hornby. Zoe Hornby must be scratching her head. 2 tries today and comes away with a loss.
Yeah, Danny Anderson carried that ball well, constantly looking for work. And she's got through the work as well for Leeds Rhinos. Hannah Butcher just there looking over her teammate as Alicia Watson just gets a bit of attention from the physio.
Yeah, that's the right time.
You see it again, the error there. Yeah. Wood's the first one to react. And I thought she was away. It's a terrific tackle from Watson. Desperate stuff. Just to deny a try, Lois Forsell. It's important that you react like that because you'll need that again. And in a big game, that becomes a big play. To keep putting yourself in there, to keep wanting and work for your team, knowing that you've lost the game. But for York City Knights, a 3rd win in a row, super start to the competition. They must be so proud of each and every one of them.
And not just a 3rd win, it's the opposition they've beaten as well,
exactly,
St Helens and Leeds.
St Helens and Leeds, yeah. And what that does, Sharon, it leaves a mental marker down on those sides for later on in the competition. While trophies aren't won, obviously, in round 3, certainly go a long way when you're beating your nearest rivals for that.
Yeah.
Well, York will stay top of the Super League table with this afternoon. Obviously, we're saying they've won. There's 8 points in it, and we've got, 90 seconds or so still to go. So we're not going to see that overturned, as sadly a stretcher is brought onto the field for Alicia Watson, the 24-year-old. And that's a shame, because, again, you just saw a bit of a twist on her knee as she went down. And
well, she held it. She put her hand onto it straight away, looked in a lot of discomfort.
Yeah.
She's able to leave the field. And hopefully she's okay. Hopefully it's nothing too serious and it's one of them in a couple of weeks and you're back.
So it looks like it's a pre-existing problem as well with that knee strap to the leg that she's not really putting much weight on. So hopefully, like you say, Kyle, it's not too serious and she will be back. There will be a couple of weeks gap now between Super League fixtures, so hopefully time will be on her side. And she'll be fit for when Leeds Rhinos take on St Helens on the 23rd of June.
That's going to be live on Sky Sports as well, isn't it? A wonderful opportunity for these players to showcase their thing.
But it's York with the ball now, trying to showcase it this afternoon with Savannah Andrade trying to find a way forward. Again, driven back nicely by that Leeds Rhinos defence. Peach once more. Here's Bell. Bell with a strength. Bell's over the line. Can she get that ball down? The referee right on the spot says she's held up.
Yeah. A crash ball there for Jazz Bell.
But the position now for York City Knights, 10 metres out from that line, right in front of the post. What can York do with it in these closing moments of the game? It goes to Wood. Wood drives forward. Another one that's over the line, and she gets it down. Great play there from Liv Wood, celebrated by her teammates, and that does make it certain for York City Knights.
Well, it's a tired and sort of de-spirited defence, isn't it, from the Rhinos? She's able to spin out and put the ball down with 2 and 3 bodies on her. To seal this win this afternoon, 22-10, and a kick to the right-hand side of the post, which should be a formality, really, for Stanley to convert, and it'll take the score to 24-10. But here, Jazz Bell threatened moments earlier with a crash ball, trying to get over the line. And then Liv Wood just says, give it here, I'll show you how to do it.
Just see the defence just dropping off as Wood goes over that line.
I just think they're mentally done now, aren't they? They've done a... they know the game's over. They just had to have a bit more resolve to see that out, and they can't on that occasion. That'll be disappointing for Lois Forsell. Just to allow her to just spin out of that tackle. When there's 3 bodies there, she shouldn't be able to get that ball down, but take nothing away from it. To roll out of that and dot the ball down, brilliant.
So can Tara Stanley put the icing on a cake, not only for herself, but her team with this conversion to that try from Liv Wood. That was Liv Wood's 2nd try of the Super League season.
And it's important to recognise as well that, York City Knights have done this with a player that's been sent off at half-time. 2 tries in the final 10 minutes tells you that they finished the game stronger, which shouldn't really happen, if I'm honest.
I think you forget that they have been down to 12 because they have competed so well with the full complement of 13.
I just think they just look like a really well-polished team, I think, at the moment. What we're seeing from the York City Knights in 2022, well, it's a step up from where they've ever been before. I think they're a really, really classy outfit. You know, you mentioned the absence of their halfbacks as well, with players like Hetherington to come back in as well. You know, they're only going to get stronger. And it really does set up for the rest of the season for York City Knights in positive manner.
Well, a shortish kick-off coming from Leeds Rhinos straight into the arms of York City Knights as the countdown starts out on that far side, signalling the full-time hooter. And it's another good win for York City Knights, maybe not greeted with the same celebrations that we saw when they beat St Helens the other week, but you can still see how much that matters to them this afternoon. I know Lindsay Anfield said it's always a bit of a thing in their minds when they play Leeds Rhinos. They've struggled in the past to overcome them, but they've done it this afternoon, and they've done it with just 12 players.
Yeah, and look what it means to players like Stanley and Peach give each other a big hug. It's smiles all round and high fives, and so it should be as well. You know, I've been very, very impressed with what I've seen today. It's the first time that I've seen York in 2022. They certainly look like the team to beat, unbeaten already so far. Seeing off St Helens, giving them the first loss since 2019. A team that's full of stars and full of players within the women's game on the international level. Well, they're rewriting the rule book and the script, aren't they, 2022. Leeds Rhinos, probably not the best game from them today in many different departments, really. I just think that they were second best all day long. And York down to 12 as well, finishing the game so strongly. A brilliant, brilliant victory for them. And they come away now from, like you said, Sharon, the international break, and then back at it. Leeds Rhinos against St Helens later to come. But for York, you can just tell, look at them there. I'm watching them with my own eyes here and just thinking how much of a solid group they are. They're all in together and they're all buying into a journey and a belief that they can go on and lift the Super League title at the end of the year. They started so brightly.
And we can see the pictures of York City Knights getting together in their huddle to celebrate that. Leeds Rhinos, no doubt, will learn from that result as well, in the same way St Helens said they would, and come back stronger. And overall, as a competition, that will only be a benefit as well. We will shortly be able to bring you some reaction from certainly the player of the match, Tara Stanley. We'll do that in just a very short time. But York City Knights going across to greet the supporters who are on their feet in the stand this afternoon, applauding them. They've again been entertained by this Women's Super League match here at the LNER Community Stadium. So tries this afternoon for York City Knights. Tara Stanley, Alicia Clayton, Tamsin Renouf and Olivia Wood. Tara Stanley having a good afternoon with the boot. 4 from 5. One of those was a penalty as well, with the 2 tries coming from Zoe Hornby. Sam Hume converting one of those. And on the scoreboard, Kyle, a comprehensive looking win there. 24 points to 10. I don't think we predicted that sort of gap pre-match.
No, we didn't. And again, I mentioned the fact that Rhiannon Marshall seen red and was sent to the sidelines for the whole second half. You know, you would have thought that was advantage for the Rhinos, but it wasn't to be. When it was Zoe Hornby who starts the afternoon off with one of her 2 tries to take the Rhinos to 4-0. Just a little drop-off play between those 2 players. Starts brightly afternoon for the Rhinos. You've seen it here again there, Georgia Roach threatening with that ball shape that she has all the time. A number of times she opts to run herself, but on that occasion just dumps the ball off to Zoe Hornby, who just crashes through the defence. And we thought it would maybe be the Rhinos' afternoon there from then on. You know, they started so brightly, but then after 20 minutes, and this girl was threatening all afternoon. She was brilliant. She was a cut above the rest all day long. In a kicking game, a running game, her ability to beat people one-on-one. She shows exactly why she's player of the match, with moments like this and footwork like this as well. Leaves Caitlin Beavers for dead on that one. Gets the ball down, and that brings it to 4-all. And we see here what should have been a really turning point for the York City Knights, but it seemed to galvanise them, didn't it, really, for second half. I think it was a swinging arm that Marshall's deemed to throw in a punch. She gets sent to the sideline. There's a bit of confusion from us up here in the box that we didn't realise that if she'd been sin-binned or sent off. We got confirmation of that red card. But from then, York City Knights, they started so brightly. It's a simple crash ball there from Clayton to spin and dot the ball down over and give a side the lead. And Zoe Hornby does something similar. She hits back at them, just straight through the ruck there. Simple carry. Perhaps a Sinead Peach and Savannah Andre, if they look back at that on the video, they'll probably want a bit more from themselves there. But that lovely footwork to supply Renoff with a pass. Caitlin Beavers on that occasion panics and gets the defensive read all wrong. Renoff there. She takes the scoreboard away in favour of York City Knights. What looked like a simple try. And then right towards the end here, Sam Wood. You know, as a player earlier, wasn't they, from Jazz Bell, where she threatened to do something similar. And they held out on that occasion, but on this one there, you know, inside the dying 30 seconds of the game, you know, perhaps the Rhinos just mentally just done with the game, and just on another day they should be defending that better. Although the game's gone from you, you've got to have a bit more resolve about you. And they managed to score there through Wood. Determination on her to get the ball down, and it's a terrific win for the afternoon, isn't it, for York? 24-10, doing all of that with 12 players on the field. A fantastic win for them, 3 out of 3. And they go marching on for the rest of the competition, don't they?
They certainly do. Well, let's get some reaction now from this win this afternoon from York City Knights. Let's join Paul Kidd. He's been joined by player of the match, Tara Stanley.
Well, Tara, first of all, many congratulations on that from a personal performance. I think you got 1 try and 4 conversions, but not just that, an absolutely tremendous performance from yourself all round, and you've just got deservedly the player of the match.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, obviously I want to perform for my team week in, week out, especially with the opposition that we're coming across week in, week out. Every game is like a grand final, but I can only exploit what platform my team sets, so it's just about me recognising that and exploiting it.
As you say, collectively as a team, that was an outstanding performance today. You beat St Helens in the last round. Up you come against the second favourites, Leeds Rhinos. If you're not careful, you're going to be classed as the favourites for this tournament.
Yeah, there was a bit of pressure coming into it because we did beat St Helens, but at the end of the day, as I say, every game we've got to put a performance on, and it's just about trusting our process and playing to it. Leeds are a phenomenal side, and they've got some great players, and they work really well as a team, and we knew that we had to stay switched on from 0 to 80 minutes, and I think today we did.
And next up in the tournament, obviously the Wigan Warriors side, I think in 2 weeks' time. I'm guessing you'll be training over the next 2 weeks with the same level of intensity that you brought into today's game.
Oh yeah, definitely. We've got a lot to work on, and we'll go into Wednesday and we'll definitely review it and work on patches that could be worked on. But yeah, we've just got to take each tick in the box. It's only round 3, and we're under no illusion that it's going to be an easy ride. Every single game is going to be tough.
Tara, as I said, many congratulations on your personal performance and your team performance today. Enjoy the rest of the day, and best of luck against Wigan in the next round. So, first of all, commiserations on that defeat, but I guess that one of the positives for yourself was that you came away personally with 2 tries today.
Yeah, it was hard to take, obviously, the loss. We've put a lot of work in the last few weeks, and it just didn't come off for us today. But yeah, it was a great feeling for me to get over the try line twice, better than once, I guess. But yeah, it's a tough one to take, but we'll go away and see what we can do from there.
Again, not only the 2 tries that you scored, but defensively from both teams today, there was some sort of great defensive tackles, one-on-one went in, but not just that. You know, the way both teams went about that defensively was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, it was a really physical game. We knew we were going to come here and be tested. Everything, I think, work rate from both teams was incredible in defence. We definitely felt it, and we did everything we could, and they just ran away with it in the end there.
Zoe, again, many commiserations, but thanks for joining us after the game.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Lindsay, you must be absolutely delighted there. I mean, you went down to sort of 12 players just before half-time to come out in the second half and not only hold on to your lead, but extend that lead as well in the second half. You must be really pleased.
Yeah, we did. We got a big reaction at half-time. First half was pretty scrappy, and we weren't really doing what we'd planned to do. The ruck speed wasn't quick enough for us, but second half, yeah, they came out and they knew they had to work hard. We knew we only had a few subs left, so yeah, the girls grafted, and I'm just really pleased for them.
We've just had Tara Stanley in it, who's won the player of the match, but I just want to talk to you as well about Sinead Peach around the ruck. The way she took your team forward today was absolutely outstanding in the middle. She seemed to come up with the ruck plays and taking the team forward.
She does, yeah. She's a true leader, and a deception and the way she works on a game is second to none. She's constantly watching footage and going over things and trying to make a game as slick as it can be, and it's paying dividends for her this year with the amount of work that she's putting in. So I'm really pleased for Peachy. She's an unsung hero sometimes, I think, is Sinead.
Again, when you look at today, you've just had two really tough games. St Helens in the last round, today Leeds Rhinos. I've no doubt that you won't be taking your foot off the gas, so to speak, heading into your next game against the Wigan Warriors.
No, definitely not. And there's so many things we need to fix up here today. We've played our full squad over the past couple of games now, so it's fantastic for the girls to to be able to put a show on here. But they're going to have to go away in training and cement a shirt in that Wigan game. Yeah, definitely.
Lindsay, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Lois, first of all, I'm guessing you may be feeling a little disappointed, but what a great game that was.
I'd probably say the opposite. Yeah, I don't think it was a great game from our girls, and yeah, we are disappointed. We just spoke there after the game, and I think they know that they were way under par today, and they've got to be much better.
I think when you look at it as a collective, though, in terms of the ladies' game, that was a great spectacle for the viewers. I know that that's only a very small consolation to yourself, and I know that you've got a massive game coming up again in 2 weeks' time against St Helens. Is that a good thing for you?
The result today, or the fact that we've got two big games close together?
The fact that you've got the two big games, obviously going forward towards the playoffs, if you will.
It's massive. Obviously, going to be a little bit difficult. We've got the international break in between that, so obviously we'll be taking a break. But we've got players that will be out of training and having big weekends and playing international rugby as well. So it's massive. That's what we all want to play in these big games. There's no good having them one-sided scorelines. So we'll learn a lot from today. But we are walking away now, and we've got to be much better, and we are much better than what we put out there today.
Lois, I know that you don't search for excuses, and I know that you look at your own team's performance individually. You missed a couple of players today due to COVID. I've no doubt that you won't use any excuses or anything like that. But just how good it will be to have a full squad leading into that game against St Helens in 2 weeks.
Well, we plan on having a full squad this weekend, and it's sport, and there's obstacles always thrown in the way. So yeah, look, that's why we need strength in depth. That's what we lacked a little bit last year, and that's what we've got this year. So I personally believe we had enough firepower out there today to get this job done. But yeah, without a doubt, we did miss Courtney, we did miss Lummers, and some of the girls who are coming back from some injuries, like Orla. But yeah, no excuses. We had enough to get the job done today, and we just didn't execute, and that's on us.
Lois, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So another clash of two big teams from Women's Super League Group 1. York City Knights coming out on top on this occasion. And these are the games that we need to be seeing, Kyle. A little bit of the world order turned upside down with the World Cup coming up at the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Look, we need more and more of these games that are competitive. And, I thought today, while we thought the scoreboard would perhaps be a bit closer, the real turning point was Rhiannon Marshall being sent off. But, it seemed to work weirdly enough in favour of York City Knights, and I thought they were fantastic today. I thought they just played the game as it should be. Just kept Leeds far enough away from the try line, because Leeds showed that when they get near the line, they are able to score points. But York just made sure that they dictated play and kept them as far away from that end of the field as possible. And for York, like you said there, it's so important that these games, that we get more and more of these, so that when we come to the World Cup, Craig Richards and the rest of the England staff have got a bigger pool of players to pick from, but crucially players that are in form, the players that are going to be able to showcase their talent and get them to that end goal, which is a World Cup final and ultimately lifting the trophy.
But as far as the Women's Super League goes, York City Knights remain top of the table. They have beaten Leeds Rhinos this afternoon at the LNER Community Stadium by 24 points to 10. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage of the game this afternoon on The Sportsman. From myself and Kyle Amor, have a very good afternoon.